Chapter 181. Chapter 181. Secrets in the computer. But since Meng Yao had said that the data box was between the first and second floors, there was no way Lin Yi was going upstairs. General Wei Wu couldn't stop him, and wouldn't stop him, but Lin Yi wasn't the type of person who liked to peep at people. Even if he were to go upstairs, he'd do it openly. What was the point of sneaking around like this? Lin Yi walked up the stairs quickly, and found a hidden data box on the wall between the first and second floors. It was wallpapered, and he wouldn't be able to tell if he didn't look closely. Lin Yi opened the data box. He didn't know much about the network, but the labels on the data box were clear. Evidently, the people living in the villa area were all rich people, and not many of them knew about the wiring. The developers had taken this into consideration when they built the house, and the switches in each room were clearly labeled. All they had to do was follow the instructions on the labels, and everything would be fine. As expected, the data box in his room didn't have a phone or internet connection. Lin Yi turned on the internet, but didn't need a phone. He had a phone, after all, and didn't need a phone. With that done, Lin Yi closed the data box and went downstairs. Meng Yao only glanced at him, noticing that he'd come down so quickly, and that General Wei Wu didn't react at all. She decided that Lin Yi probably hadn't gone up to the second floor, and so she turned her attention back to the TV. Yushu and Su Shihan were dancing excitedly. Lin Yi wasn't interested at all. He went back to his room and started looking at Yushu's computer. It was a branded computer, with nice specs and looks, but it was a little feminine. The case and monitor were very bright and colorful, and even the mouse and keyboard were very stylish. Girls like stuff like that. But Lin Yi wasn't picky about stuff like that. He'd just have to make do with it. He plugged in the computer and turned it on, entering the system in no time at all. Yushu's desktop was very clean, with almost no software. There were only QQ and Feishin, a video player, and a few other common software. There weren't any professional ones at all. Lin Yi opened the D drive of the computer. There were two folders inside. One was a video, and the other was a photo album. Lin Yi got a little excited when he saw the folder name. It couldn't be Yushu, could it? He turned his head to look at the locked door before opening the videos folder with shaky hands. As for Yushu, Lin Yi had always had a good impression of her. She was the type of girl that people liked easily. She looked like a brainless, carefree girl, but she was actually very shrewd. In contrast to Meng Yao's arrogance, Yushu was much more approachable and approachable. She was basically the bridge between him and the miss, and it was only natural that Lin Yi had a good impression of her. Lin Yi was practically drooling at the thought of Yushu's explosively hot body. Hee, Miss Chen, you didn't think that I'd have something on you, did you? Lin Yi looked at the videos folder with a perverted gaze, only to feel a wave of disappointment wash over him. Damn it, it was all music videos or concerts of Su Shihan. Where were the selfies? Lin Yi clicked on two random ones without much interest, and it was exactly the same as the one he'd seen on TV. The singer was quite pretty, but Lin Yi didn't want to waste his time on an imaginary idol. He'd rather use that time on his own things. Teasing Tang Yun. Flirting with Yushu. Bickering with Ling Shan. Even seeing Miss Chu glaring at him wasn't bad. Haha. It was better than watching videos of his idol. At least it was someone he'd seen in real life. Closing the videos folder, Lin Yi placed all his hopes on the albums folder, but Lin Yi didn't have much hope this time. After all, he'd been disappointed once before. There was a high chance that this albums folder contained pictures of Su Shihan, if he were to go by the content of the videos. Lin Yi opened the albums folder, not as excited as before. But as soon as he opened it, Lin Yi's eyes widened. There were two folders in the albums folder. One was called Su Shihan, and the other was called My Albums. Lin Yi's disappointed heart was once again filled with excitement. The Su Shihan folder was automatically filtered out by him, and Lin Yi opened the My Albums folder. As expected, there were some scattered pictures inside, and from the names of the files, it was obvious that they were taken with a digital camera or a phone. Lin Yi's heart was filled with excitement. He quickly double-clicked on the first picture, anxiously waiting for the computer to respond. It only took a second, and Lin Yi's eyes were glued to the computer screen. Actually, Lin Yi's nature was the same as other normal boys. A bit of a pervert. The pictures opened, and it wasn't the selfie style that Lin Yi was expecting, but a normal life picture. Yushu was sitting on the sofa, looking a little lazy and immature, but still beautiful all the same. The date on the picture showed that it was taken 3 years ago, when Yushu was in her first year of high school. Lin Yi flipped through the album, and other than Yushu, there were also pictures of Meng Yao and Yushu. There were also pictures of the two of them together, some of them in their pajamas, but they weren't out of bounds. They could be counted as private pictures, but they were a far cry from the selfie type. Even so, Lin Yi was still enjoying it. He lived under the same roof as these two beauties, and Lin Yi was too embarrassed to look at them with his eyes wide open. Now that he had the pictures, it was easier to look at them. From the time of the pictures, Lin Yi could see that Meng Yao and Yushu had changed from two young girls to the beautiful women they were now. These pictures were proof of their growth and friendship, and it was very precious. Most of the pictures were of the two going out and having fun, and the two would go on a trip every winter and summer break. Lin Yi just didn't know who was taking the pictures. It couldn't be Faubert, could it? Lin Yi couldn't help but think of Faubert huffing and puffing behind the two girls with a camera on his back. Well, it seemed like a part of Faubert's work had been transferred to him already. Was he the Mrs. Follower now? Lin Yi stopped smiling at the thought. Next time, he'd probably be the one carrying the camera around, wouldn't he? Chapter 182. A warning to the head. Lin Yi didn't have anything else to do at the moment, so he opened up the internet and searched for the name, Xihua. Most of the news was positive, and only a few small forums had some comments about how Xihua was a local boss, saying that he could do whatever he wanted. None of that was of any use to Lin Yi. Lin Yi closed the webpage and turned to search for information about Dr. Kong. Since Lin Yi was planning to show off his skills in the medical industry, it was a necessity for him to know about this Dr. Kong. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that the man was Kong Xiaobo's grandfather. It was a bit of a coincidence. A man couldn't live without money. His old man was very strict with him, but Lin Yi had never complained about it. A mission was worth a few hundred kuai. It wasn't even as much as the funds for the mission. His Shifu wasn't a stingy man, and the rest of the money would be transferred to his old man's account, other than the portion that the organization had to keep. But the old man only gave him a few hundred kuai. Lin Yi couldn't be bothered to argue about it. The only possibility was that the old man had taken the money for himself. But to Lin Yi, the old man was like a father to him, the one who'd raised him from a young age. If the old man was greedy, then so be it. Lin Yi could only pretend that he didn't know anything about it, since he didn't have to worry about food and clothing. What Lin Yi didn't understand, however, was why the old man was still so poor after taking the money. Was he a modern-day granddette? He was getting Peng Zhan's salary every month, but Lin Yi didn't have a source of income of his own. Who knew what was going on with this mission? Lin Yi still couldn't figure it out. He had to leave a backup plan. What if he lost his job? Lin Yi had truly fallen in love with his current life. He went to school like any other high schooler. He had his friends, and the girl he had a crush on. From the reviews on the internet, Dr. Kang's reputation was pretty good. It was just that the medicine was either too popular or too hard to get a hold of, resulting in a situation where there wasn't a market for it. But that only served to prove how amazing the medicine was. Lin Yi hadn't seen what Dr. Kang's golden creation looked like, but Lin Yi was confident that his old man's prescription wouldn't be much worse than Dr. Kang's. The market would probably be split in two if he were to bring it out. Lin Yi didn't have anything to do the next day, so he naturally wouldn't drive to school by himself. Meng Yao and Yushu were yawning as they walked downstairs, evidently having stayed up late last night to watch the concert. Lin Yi didn't think much of the star's attractiveness at all. She was a bit prettier than Meng Yao and Yushu, but that was only because of the makeup and the stage effects. Meng Yao and Yushu were on par with the star in terms of quality, and Lin Yi felt that he'd rather watch his two girls than the star. That concert yesterday was so good. I wonder when Lil Han's coming to Songshan for her concert? Yushu was still thinking about the show last night. Man, Songshan's not a provincial city, and it's not a special economic zone either. It'll probably be a little difficult. Meng Yao said. We have to get a Blu-ray of the concert. We didn't get enough of it yesterday. Yeah, we'll go buy it at noon. See if there's a music store near the school. Yushu nodded. But there don't seem to be any legal ones near the school. We'll have to go to the bookstore if we want to buy the original one. Lin Yi. Meng Yao called out to the idling Lin Yi. Go get us a Blu-ray of Su Shihan's 2011 concert if you're free this afternoon. The first one was a month ago. I'm sure they'll be selling it by now. Ugh. Okay. Lin Yi nodded as he watched the two star chasers chatting away. It was a small matter. Lin Yi didn't think much of it. Ha, you're so smart, Yao Yao. With Shield Bro running errands, we don't have to walk that far anymore. Yushu had been grumbling about how far it was to walk to the bookstore, about 1 kilometer, and she didn't want to trouble Faubert to come over at noon. Meng Yao handing the task to Lin Yi straight away made her very happy. I didn't hire him to hit on girls. I hired him to do things. Meng Yao curled her lips as she glared at Lin Yi. Ah! Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It wasn't her business if he hit on girls, was it? It was fine as long as he didn't hit on the miss. Even a follower needed love. Lin Yi looked out of the window when Faubert's car arrived at the slums. Lin Yi let out a breath of relief when he saw that Tang Yun was safe and sound, waiting at the bus stop. It seemed like that little gangster wasn't bothering Tang Yun today. Zhou Ruoming was furious. Yes, he was furious to the extreme. Lin Yi and Tang Yun were walking together? Naturally, Zhou Ruoming heard about Lin Yi and Tang Yun's confession and Tang Yun's shyness. The school was only that big. How could the Big Four not know about it? Originally, Zhou Ruoming had a good plan. He would force Tang Yun to abdicate at her mother's place, and then create a false impression that Tang Yun was Zhou Ruoming's girlfriend. He would let the whole school know about this, and Tang Yun would have no choice but to accept him. But the plan changed quickly. Zhou Ruoming didn't think that Lin Yi would come out of nowhere and ruin his plan. He even got slapped in the face and became a laughingstock. This made Zhou Ruoming lose face, and at the same time, he hated Lin Yi. He planned to let his big brother, Zhou Ruoguang, teach Lin Yi a lesson. But because of what happened with Heibao Bro, Zhou Ruoming didn't dare to let his big brother teach someone a lesson in the school. He could only wait for a suitable opportunity, or wait for the storm to blow over. One had to know that Heibao Bro was in the police station and was going to be sentenced. Although Pinliang's father suppressed the matter and didn't implicate Pinliang, Pinliang's father, Zhong Fabai, wasn't able to get Heibao Bro out of jail. This was proof of how big the matter was. In fact, Songshan First High wasn't a normal high school, but a private school with a strong background. Zhou Ruoming could imagine that if Zhong Pingliang's uncle wasn't one of the directors of the school, he would have been expelled a long time ago. As a result, Ruoming had no choice but to bear with it for the time being. But that opportunity didn't come. The rumors that had been spreading around the school yesterday were like a hammer to his head. Ruoming was dumbfounded. Chapter 183. Chapter 183. Zhong Pinliang's trick. Zhou Ruoming was starting to panic. Tang Yun was one of the best girls he'd seen in his years of traveling around the city. Girls like her were too rare, not like those with makeup and pretty clothes. Tang Yun's beauty came from the bottom of her heart. A natural beauty. There were only 3 of them in the entire Songshan Middle School. He couldn't even touch 2 of them. Anyone who touched them would die. Zhou Ruoming wasn't an idiot. Meng Yao's father was the chairman of Pengzhan Industries, a man who could shake Songshan with just a stomp of his foot. Only someone like Zhong Pinliang, with a strong family background, would dare go after her, but even he wouldn't dare do anything to her. As for Yushu, even Pinliang didn't dare touch that girl. Wu Xiaozan's painful lesson was still fresh in his mind. Tang Yun, on the other hand, wasn't as talented. Zhou Ruoming knew everything about her family background. Her parents were both laid-off workers, and her father was bedridden due to a work-related injury. Her mother worked at the food street behind the school. A family that couldn't even get their father's medical compensation. What could they possibly do? As far as Zhou Ruoming was concerned, he had Tang Yun under his thumb. Even if he forced himself on her, a family like Tang Yun's wouldn't be able to do anything about it. This was why Zhou Ruoming had pursued Tang Yun without a care in the world, almost pushing her to the brink of insanity. From Zhou Ruoming's perspective, Tang Yun would have been his woman already if it weren't for Lin Yi's interference. Now, Tang Yun had accepted Lin Yi's confession. The hero saving the damsel in distress was a cliché, but it was effective. He must have played the villain that day, giving Lin Yi a chance. Zhou Ruoming regretted it. If he'd known this would happen, he would have gotten his lackeys to play the villain and let them show off their skills. Sitting under the basketball hoop, Zhou Ruoming was sulking. His lackeys also knew that Zhou Ruoming was in a bad mood, so they didn't dare to speak. "Brother Ming, what's wrong? Why do you look so depressed?" Pinliang saw Zhou Ruoming's sad face as he sat under the basketball hoop. His face alternated between anger and regret, and he could guess why Zhou Ruoming was like this. Pinliang's sharp senses told him that this was a good chance to teach Lin Yi a lesson. "Oh, it's Liang Zi." Zhou Ruoming raised his eyelids and saw that it was Zhong Pingliang, but he didn't feel embarrassed at all. Zhong Pingliang wasn't much better off than him. He'd lost to Lin Yi as well. His old man's men were all in jail, and Zhou Ruoming and Zhong Pingliang were just the pot calling the kettle black. Are you here to watch me make a fool of myself? Brother Ming, what are you talking about? I've always respected you, Brother Ming. Pinliang patted one of the lackeys beside Zhou Ruoming, and the lackey quickly moved aside, letting Pinliang sit beside Zhou Ruoming. Liang Zi, I've been slapped in the face this time. Zhou Ruoming sighed and said hatefully, everyone in the school knows that I'm chasing after Tang Yun, but that bastard Lin Yi beat me to it. I can't take this lying down. Ming bro, I think that you're too conservative in this matter. Pinliang said with a pained expression. Tang Yun's family background isn't that big of a deal. There's a saying, the one who strikes first gains the advantage. Ming bro, if you force her, wouldn't Tang Yun be yours now? Right now, even if I want to force myself on you, I don't dare to. You know that Ming Yao's family is even more powerful than mine. Ah, you're right, Liang Zi. Don't even mention how much I regret it now. Zhou Ruoming's face darkened. If I knew this would happen, I would have forced myself on her. I'm a professional at this. I've done it before. That's right, Pinliang said. How could I let that bastard Lin Yi beat me to it? But it's too late now, I regret it. Zhou Ruoming had been holding it in for a long time, but now that a young bully with a similar identity appeared, and the two of them were in the same boat, having a common enemy, Lin Yi, it was only natural that Zhou Ruoming would complain to him. Ming bro, I don't agree with what you said. Pinliang suddenly changed the topic. As the saying goes, a good meal isn't too late. It's not too late for you to make your move now. No matter how fast Lin Yi is, he won't be able to take Tang Yun in 2.5 days. If you take her now, she'll be with you. Pinliang didn't have much education, and he didn't know if he was using the right words. Fortunately, Zhou Ruoming was a fool. He didn't understand what a good meal isn't too late meant, but he felt that Pinliang's words made sense. Zhou Ruoming slapped his thigh and shouted in surprise. That's right, why didn't I think of that? It's not too late for me to make my move now. Tang Yun will be mine, and Lin Yi won't be able to play anymore. Liang Zi, you've really woken me up. Ruoming matched Pinliang's one Zhou line with his own in order to show off his culture level. Man Ming bro, there's hope for your path of love, but I still need to work hard. Pinliang was overjoyed when he saw that Zhou Ruoming had accepted his suggestion. Now that Tang Yun was fucked by Zhou Ruoming, Lin Yi would probably be very depressed, right? Ha! But on the surface, Pinliang still acted sad and helpless. Liang Zi, I'll thank you heavily after this is done. Zhou Ruoming clenched his fist as if he had seen hope. But don't reject me when I ask you to give me some advice. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Pinliang said happily. Why was she asking for his help? Alright, that was his strength. Pinliang hummed a tune as he walked to the classroom. Zhou Ruoming was happy to play basketball with his lackeys now that he'd solved his problem. Pinliang saw his lackey Zhang Naipeo running towards him like crazy before he reached the classroom door. It was as if he had seen his savior. Pow, what are you doing? You're running so fast. Are you training for the sports day? Pinliang was in a good mood today, so he joked with Naipeo. Liang bro. I'm begging you, save my dad, save my brother. Naipeo said as he knelt down in front of Pinliang. Pinliang froze at Naipeo's sudden action. Pow, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with your dad and brother? How can I save you? Can't you explain it more clearly? Pinliang frowned. He didn't understand what Lin Yi was talking about. Chapter 184. Chapter 184. Zhang Naipeo's plea, Pow, get up first. What's up with you kneeling on the ground? Pinliang didn't look like he was joking, but this wasn't the right place to be kneeling on the ground. Liang bro, please, promise me. I'll get up if you promise. Naipeo's only hope was Pinliang right now. If Pinliang was willing to help him, then his family would be safe. All right, I promise you. Get up now. Pinliang said as he pulled Naipeo up. Pow, if you have something to say, just say it. This is a school. What would people think of you kneeling on the ground? Liang bro. I'm sorry, I was too impulsive. Naipeo said, realizing that his actions weren't very appropriate. You can't do that even if you're impulsive, Pin Liang said. All right, let's talk about it first. Liang bro, my dad's doing business, and a competitor set him up. Nai Peo explained. They're going to sue him for fraud and he's going to jail. Oh? Pin Liang frowned. He knew about Nai Peo's family. It wasn't too bad. His father was doing business outside, and his mother was a full-time housewife. How did this happen? But what does this have to do with your brother? Pin Liang asked. They're forcing my dad to pay back the money, so my brother has to sell his kidney. Nai Peo said. Your brother has to sell his kidney? Pin Liang didn't understand. Why not you? I'd go if I could sell my kidneys. Why would I ask my brother to do it? Nai Peo said. I did some research, and they said that I'm a Yin blood or something. I don't know much about it, but it's just that kidneys for people with my blood type aren't easy to find, and there aren't many people who need it. I can't sell it anytime soon. I see. Pin Liang nodded. Then how do you want me to help you? Liang bro, can you lend my family some money to help us get through this? Nai Peo said. Even if I have to work like a horse or cow, I'll repay your kindness for the rest of my life. How much? Pin Liang wasn't much of a person, but Nai Peo had been with him for a long time, and he'd always been his follower and vanguard. Pin Liang couldn't just ignore him. 700,000. Nai Peo said carefully. What? 700,000? So many? Pin Liang paused. If it was 100,000 or 80,000, he could just gather some of his New Year's money, but 700,000 was out of his reach. That's right, Brother Liang. If it wasn't for the huge amount, I wouldn't have come to beg you. Nai Peo said with a bitter face. Liang bro, please help me. If you need me, just say the word. If you need a cow, I'll be a cow. If you need a horse, I'll be a horse. Brother Liang, I won't even blink if you ask me to commit suicide. Hey, Nai Peo, don't worry. This is a serious matter, and I don't have that much money. You know that. Pin Liang said. I can only give my dad a call. You go back to class first. I'll think about how I'm going to tell him. Liang bro, you have to help me. Nai Peo thought that Pin Liang was just brushing him off, that he didn't want to help. Listen to me, Nai Peo. You've been with me for 3 years. I'll do my best for you. Don't think too much. I'm just thinking about how I'm going to tell my dad. Pin Liang patted Nai Peo's shoulder. All right, Liang bro, I'll go back first. You have to help me. Nai Peo nodded. Pin Liang went back to class, thinking about Nai Peo's situation. Logically speaking, 700,000 was a small amount for his family, but it was enough to buy a luxury car. Pin Liang had to think about it carefully. Nai Peo had been with him for 3 years. He'd been his follower for 3 years. He'd been at his beck and call every day, and he'd never complained. This touched Pin Liang a little. But, being touched was one thing. What Pin Liang cared more about was the benefits this 700,000 would bring him. With this 700,000, Pin Liang believed that Nai Peo would owe him a huge favor, a huge one at that. If he ever needed Nai Peo's help in the future, with his personality, there was no way he wouldn't push it away. But was 700,000 really worth it? Pin Liang weighed the pros and cons in his mind. Judging from Nai Peo's actions of sacrificing himself to save his brother, the kid had some sense of loyalty. But loyalty? Did he really need it from Nai Peo? Pin Liang decided that he'd call his father and ask for his opinion. With that in mind, Nai Peo left the classroom and went to the washroom. Seeing that there was no one there, he took out his phone and called his father, Zhong Fabai. Pin Liang? Fabai's heart sank when he got his son's call. It had been a very eventful time. He'd just taken care of Heibao's business, and he couldn't let anything go wrong. Under normal circumstances, Pin Liang wouldn't call him on his own. If he did, then something big must have happened. Lin Yi quickly asked, What happened? Dad, I have something to discuss with you. Pin Liang said, Oh, what is it? Fabai let out a breath of relief when he heard that Pin Liang was just looking for him. As long as it wasn't a big problem. It's like this, Zhang Nai Peo from our class. You remember him, right? Pin Liang asked. Zhang Nai Peo. Oh, I know your follower. What happened to him? Fabai knew of Nai Peo. The kid often came to play with someone called Gao Xiaofu. It's like this, Zhang Naipeo's family is in some trouble. His father got screwed over in a business deal, and now he's in a huge debt. The other party wants him to pay up, and if he doesn't, they'll sue him. Pin Liang kept the story short. Zhang Naipeo's begging me now. He wants me to lend him some money. Oh, that's what happened. Fabai got the gist of it. It was actually very simple. His son's classmate's family was in trouble, and he wanted to borrow money from his son. Son, what do you think? Dad. Zhang Naipeo's my buddy. He's been with me for so long, always at my beck and call. It's only right that I lend him money when he's in trouble. Pin Liang said. But the amount he's asking for is a little too big. How much? Fabai asked. Chapter 185. Chapter 185. Buying people's hearts, 700,000. For an ordinary family, this is a huge sum of money. Fabai nodded, but it wasn't much to him. Then what do you think? I'm thinking, is it worth it to give this money away? Pin Liang said. Son, it's important to be loyal when you're in society. Fabai said with a smile. Just like this Zhang Naipeo. He's your underling, and you're his boss. You can't just leave him be if something happens to him. But the thing is, how's this underling's character? Would he go through fire and water for you? If you ever need his help in the future, would he step up? Dad, I can promise that. Zhang Naipeo may be a bit of an idiot, but he's definitely a loyal man. I'll help him out this time, and if I ever need his help in the future, I'll let him die for me. Pin Liang said. Haha, isn't that it? Fabai smiled. When I was young, I helped an underling as well. I didn't have much use for him back then, but many years later, when my shoddy construction got into trouble, this underling stood up and took the blame for me. So Pin Liang, you need to be accurate in your judgment of people. If this Zhang Naipeo is really useful, then I'll give him this money. Fabai smiled. That's why, Pin Liang, you need to be accurate in choosing people. If this Zhang Naipeo is really useful, then I'll give him this money. Dad, I'm not involved in any projects. I don't need someone to take the blame for me. Pin Liang still didn't want to. It was 700,000. Why don't you have it? I've taken care of Heibao for you, but if he bites you out, you'll be in jail too. With this Zhang Naipeo, you can just push the blame onto him, say that he's the mastermind, and that you were just tricked into participating. That'll be fine, right? Fabai said. Of course, taking the blame is just one fact. There are some dangerous things, like killing someone you can't do it yourself. So, if there's nothing wrong with this guy, 700,000 is worth it. I understand, Dad. I'll talk to him later. Pin Liang agreed with his father's words. If he were to get into trouble in the future, or if there was something he couldn't handle himself, he could always ask Naipeo to do it for him. It'd be like leaving something up his sleeve. Go, Pin Liang, you've grown up. You need to train your own men and confidants. Zhong Fabai said, this will be very useful for you when you enter society in the future. Pin Liang, on the other hand, nodded repeatedly. After hanging up, Pin Liang dialed up Naipeo's number. Naipeo didn't dare answer the phone in the classroom, but seeing that it was Pin Liang, he quickly got up and ran out of the classroom. He looked around and saw Pin Liang waving at him from the bathroom door. He quickly ran over. Liang bro, you're looking for me. Pow, I've told my dad about you. Pin Liang paused to keep Lin Yi in suspense. Brother Liang, how is it? What did Uncle Zhong think? Naipeo's heart skipped a beat, his face changing color as he looked at Pin Liang anxiously, waiting for the final result. My dad said that you're my bro, so he'll give me the money. Pin Liang patted Naipeo's shoulder. Come with me to my dad's company after school. Really? Liang bro? Naipeo looked at Pin Liang in disbelief. Liang bro, you're really willing to lend me 700,000? I'm not lending it to you. I'm giving it to you. Pin Liang knew that Naipeo wouldn't be able to pay it back, and it wasn't like his family was lacking that much anymore. He might as well use the money to buy Naipeo's heart. You're my follower. How can I not help you when you're in trouble? Liang bro, you're really my boss. Naipeo couldn't be any more emotional after hearing Pin Liang's words. He knelt on the ground with a thud. Liang bro, I, Zhang Naipeo, am not someone who doesn't know how to repay favors. Don't worry, if your Liang bro tells me to hang myself, I won't jump into the water. If you tell me to go east, I'll cut my head off and throw it east. I'll never go west. Ha ha. Pinliang smiled as he helped Nai Peo up. It's still too early to talk about that. I know what kind of person you are, Zhang Nai Peo, but we'll talk about this later. Liang bro, I swear if you don't believe me, I'll kill myself right now. Nai Peo was starting to panic. That's not what I meant. Alright, Nai Peo, I know what you're thinking, alright? Let's go back to the classroom. If I need your help in the future, just don't reject me. Pinliang nodded satisfied. It seemed like Nai Peo had bought him over, and now he had a backup plan. Kong Xiaobo hadn't slept at all last night, thinking about going to Tang Yin's house for barbecue. As the saying went, which girl didn't want to fall in love? Which boy didn't want to? This was an era full of sunshine, youthfulness, and hope for the future. Kong Xiaobo hoped that he could meet a beautiful girl and start a beautiful relationship with her. He knew that Tang Yin wouldn't like him, but Kong Xiaobo was still very excited. Going to the school beauty's house for a meal. Even if nothing happened, it was still something to be proud of. Boss, are we going on Saturday or Sunday? Kong Xiaobo couldn't wait. I don't know. Lin Yi shrugged. Why are you so excited? Heh. The school beauty's treating us. You're the only one who doesn't care. Kong Xiaobo said. So many boys want to get close to the school beauty, but they can't. Aren't you excited to have a chance to be alone with the school beauty? Lin Yi was speechless. Excited my ass. There were 2 school beauties at home. But he couldn't say that to Kong Xiaobo. I'm just a little excited, but she seems to hate me. Boss, you should be content. If it was someone else, they wouldn't be able to hate her even if they wanted to. She doesn't talk much with people. I'll go ask her during lunch break then. Lin Yi was thinking about buying the concert disc for Meng Yao and Yushu. He was worried that no one would accompany him, so he dragged Kong Xiaobo along. Okay. Kong Xiaobo nodded. Let's go together and get some barbecue on the way. Forget about barbecue, Tang Yin's mom won't charge us if we go now. Lin Yi said. You can't let her spend money twice, can you? Chapter 186. The stand sold out. So are you eating at Tang Yin's house this weekend or at noon? One of the two? Lin Yi asked. Let's go this weekend then. Kong Xiaobo evidently didn't want to miss out on a good opportunity like this. There were exams almost every day in the 12th years. Half of the morning class was spent on exams. Lin Yi had been on a mission back then, but he'd completely assimilated into life now. He'd assimilated into this school, this class. Most importantly, his age. Lin Yi felt like he'd gotten a lot younger in this time. He was starting to see things from the perspective of a person his age should be. He'd started to like chatting with his new friends, joking around with pretty girls. He'd fallen in love with this school, this class. He'd fallen in love with Tang Yin, this arrogant yet cute girl. How long would this last? Perhaps a few days, perhaps a few months. He'd go back to his old life, and all of this would no longer belong to him. He'd truly enjoyed the beauty of life, and Lin Yi was tired of his old life. There was no excitement to speak of other than the thrill of killing, and Lin Yi was numb to his enemies. It was time to talk to his old man. Perhaps this was the life he'd been looking forward to? Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo left class at noon. There was a test in the last class, and the class ended a little later than the other classes. Most of the students had already left the school building. Meng Yao and Yushu went to the cafeteria as usual, eating at the small restaurant on the second floor. They didn't care how many people there were on the first floor. They didn't need to wait in line to order. Food Street was always bustling at noon. The 12th graders, on the other hand, didn't come here often due to their tight schedule. The first and second graders, however, had already crowded the place. The food here wasn't exactly clean, nor was it particularly delicious, but it was much better and cheaper than the food in the cafeteria. Mrs. Tang's barbecue stand was unusually popular today, and there were many students crowding around it. That was how news in school spread like wild. Good or bad. For example, Lin Yi's love letter to Tang Yin had spread like wildfire in the 12th grade before class even started. Mrs. Tang's barbecue stall was the same as well. The enticing aroma, coupled with the endless praises from the students who tasted it, had the entire crowd surrounding the stall. That was how things were in a lot of situations. The more people there were, the more they wanted to join the crowd. Mrs. Tang was excited, but at the same time, she was overwhelmed with work. It looked like the ingredients she had prepared today wouldn't even be enough for lunch. It looked like she had to make a trip home in the afternoon to prepare more. Still going? Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he looked at Xiaobo. There's a little too many people here, asking when he's going to her house this weekend in front of all these people. Isn't that just asking for trouble? Do you think Tang Yin can answer? Kong Xiaobo thought about it and agreed. Tang Yin was afraid of people saying that she had a relationship with Lin Yi. How could Tang Yin answer if he asked her when he was going to her Tang family dinner? If things got out of hand, the treat for the weekend might be cancelled. Then, should we wait? Kong Xiaobo asked hesitantly. Come with me to the bookstore and buy some stuff, Lin Yi nodded. We'll come back in a bit. Kong Xiaobo didn't know what Lin Yi wanted to buy, but he admired Lin Yi from the bottom of his heart. Whatever Lin Yi said, he agreed without hesitation. In the bookstore, Lin Yi bought a CD of Su Shihan's concert. Kong Xiaobo was surprised. Boss, you like Su Shihan too? Oh. Ha. Lin Yi didn't know how to answer the question. A little. A little. Kong Xiaobo paused. A little? Why did he come all the way here to buy the original? I bought it for a friend. That was the only explanation he could come up with. Luckily, Kong Xiaobo didn't ask more and changed the topic to Su Shihan. Boss, I like Su Shihan too. I heard that she's a rare pure girl in the entertainment industry. Pure girl? Lin Yi curled his lips. How many pure girls were proven to be lustful? Superficial things like that couldn't be trusted. The two of them ate beef noodles downstairs in the bookstore before returning to school. When they arrived at the food street, they found out that Mrs. Tang's stall was gone. But the other stalls were still there. It didn't seem like the law enforcement came to chase them away. Plus, this food street was approved by the street administration. Under normal circumstances, no one would come and chase them away. Lin Yi was puzzled. Xiaobo, was it that place? Lin Yi pointed at the place where Mrs. Tang's stall was. Yeah, but where did it go? Boss, wait. I'll ask someone. Kong Xiaobo said and ran to a barbecue stall at the front of the food street. Uncle, can I ask, where did the Tang barbecue stall go? Wasn't it there just now? The owner of the barbecue stall had a look of hatred on his face. It's sold out. I'm closing. You can buy it from me. Then forget it. Your place doesn't taste good. Kong Xiaobo said and left. Fuck. The barbecue stall owner cursed. He was about to explode in anger. Today, almost all of the customers had been snatched away by Tang Ji Barbecue. His first barbecue stall on the food street had actually sold less than 2/3 of the usual. This made him very angry. He didn't care when Tang Barbecue wasn't that popular. But now he was jealous. He had been selling barbecue on the food street for years. He was one of the veterans here. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get the front seat. Yet, he was beaten by a newcomer like Mrs. Tang. This made Zhang Biaoqiao furious. Seeing another student come to Tang Barbecue and say that his barbecue wasn't good, Zhang Biaoqiao's face darkened. It was only the first day. There were still many students who didn't know about it. How would he have any business in a few days? Zhang Biaoqiao felt that he had to do something. Before today, their barbecue was still the best seller on this street. But today, Mrs. Tang had gotten her hands on a new recipe that changed the situation in an instant. Chapter 187. Chapter 187. Tang Yun's best friend Lin Yi wasn't in a rush to give the concert disc to Meng Yao when he got back to the classroom. They couldn't watch it now anyway, so he decided to wait until he got home. Yu Shu, however, sent him a text asking if he bought the disc. Lin Yi replied that he did. Yu Shu turned around and winked at him. Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen accompanied Mrs. Tang as they moved the stall to a warehouse nearby. Most of the vendors on the street stored their stalls in this warehouse every day, paying 300 kuai a month for storage. Although it wasn't cheap, it was much less troublesome than pushing things around every day. Tang Yun was happy to see the excitement on her mother's face, but at the same time, she couldn't help but worry. He didn't expect that just changing a formula would be so popular. Originally, the ingredients that he had prepared were not likely to be sold out even at night. But today before noon, they were all sold out, and there were still people coming to him. This was only the first day. This recipe wasn't much to Lin Yi, but her family still owed him a favor. Tang Yun couldn't deny that. Heh, Yun, I didn't think that your Lin Yi would have some skills. This recipe is selling like hotcakes. Lu Xinwen said jokingly after sending Mrs. Tang off on the bus with Tang Yun. She wanted to test Tang Yun on purpose. She hadn't had the chance to ask Tang Yun about what she saw yesterday morning. She and Tang Yun were best friends, but it was normal for them to not see each other for a day. Mrs. Tang and Tang Yun were too busy today, so Tang Yun called Xinwen over to help. Ah! Tang Yun blushed at Xinwen's words. What do you mean, my Lin Yi? I have nothing to do with him. Wen, don't say things like that. Is that so? Lu Xinwen looked at Tang Yun meaningfully. Yun, are we best friends or not? Yeah. Wen, why are you asking this all of a sudden? Tang Yun's heart tightened subconsciously. Did Xinwen notice something? However, there shouldn't be anything between him and Lin Yi, right? Since we're best friends, why are you still hiding it from me? Xinwen poked Tang Yun's forehead. Yun, have you fallen? Will you tell me the truth? Wen, what do you mean? Tang Yun was getting more and more nervous. What are you talking about? Why don't I understand? Pretend? Keep pretending? Xinwen looked at Tang Yun disappointedly. Yun, I always thought that you and I could talk about anything. But I'm so disappointed. Wen, what are you talking about? I really don't know what's going on. Tang Yun was also anxious. If you have something to say, just say it. Yun, why did you come to school yesterday morning? Xinwen sighed as she stared into Tang Yun's eyes. Tang Yin lowered her head guiltily, not daring to look at Xinwen. Xinwen knew that she'd taken Lin Yi's car yesterday? But how did she know? She'd looked around when she got out of the car to make sure that there was no one around before running away. Yun, why aren't you talking? Xinwen asked aggressively. I took Lin Yi's car. Tang Yin said. But Wen, listen to me. It's not what you think. Oh? Then tell me, what's going on? Xinwen let out a breath of relief when Tang Yun admitted it. Tang Yun didn't hide it from her after all. Yesterday, Li Erlin was bothering me at the bus stop. Lin Yi happened to pass by here, so he got out of his car and chased Li Erlin away. Then I took his car to school. Tang Yun explained carefully. Wen, it's actually that simple. There's nothing going on between us. Xinwen also bumped into Li Erlin yesterday, so she started to believe Tang Yun's words. Then why did you take his car? I was panicking and didn't know what to do, so Lin Yi pushed me into his car. Tang Yin explained, feeling wronged. I only realized that it was too late when he started driving. Is that so? You really didn't fall for him? Xinwen let out a breath of relief. I didn't. Tang Yin shook her head after some hesitation. Why would she fall for Lin Yi? That was impossible. That's good. Xinwen nodded. Right, I went to Xiao Fun's house yesterday, and her emotions weren't stable. Her mom said that she kept calling out that person's name these past 2 days, and that she was even hallucinating. Tang Yin sighed after hearing Xinwen's words. She had been helping her mom with the barbecue stall every day, so she didn't have time to visit Xiao Fun at night. She could only ask Xinwen to go over, but it seemed like something serious had happened to Xiao Fun. Tang Yin was worried, but there was nothing she could do. I'll go over tonight. I suggest that Aunt Chui take Xiao Fun to the psychiatry department at the hospital. Xinwen said. But Aunt Chui's family situation is pretty much the same as ours, and she spent quite a lot of money on Xiao Fun's medical bills. Where would she find the money to go to the psychiatry department? That person didn't come back to visit Xiao Fun. Tang Yin was a little indignant. Xiao Fun wouldn't have ended up like this if it wasn't for that person. Even if Xiao Fun wasn't a virgin anymore, with her looks, it wouldn't be hard for her to find a better boyfriend. No, hoping that that bastard Kong Mingming would come back to visit Xiao Fun? Unless the sun rises from the west. Lu Xinwen sneered. If it wasn't for Xiao Fun stopping me, I would have castrated that bastard Kong Xiaoming. Tang Yin blushed. Her best friend's words were really powerful. She didn't know what to say. Tang Yin was too embarrassed to say something like that. Forget it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's go back and study. Xinwen threw away the unhappiness in her mind and walked back to school with Tang Yin. He had to go with Kong Xiaobo to ask Tang Yin about going to her house during the weekend, so Lin Yi couldn't go back with Meng Yao and Yushu. He sent them a text to tell them that he had something to do with Kong Xiaobo after school. Meng Yao didn't mind and replied with a "got it" before leaving with Yushu. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was slowly packing his things. He only quickened his movements after Meng Yao and Yushu left. Chapter 188. Bullying people, that won't happen. Lin Yi wasn't in a rush. They were selling like hotcakes at noon, so they'd definitely prepare more for the night. How could they sell out so quickly? That's true. Kong Xiaobo calmed down after listening to Lin Yi's analysis. The main reason Lin Yi didn't want Meng Yao and Yushu to see him looking for Tang Yun. Otherwise, the miss of the Chu family might throw a tantrum again. Lin Yi's attitude was that it was better to avoid unnecessary trouble until the two of them left. Lin Yi glanced at the corner of the street not too far away after leaving the school gates. He only calmed down when he didn't see Faubert's Bentley, and walked towards the food street with Kong Xiaobo. Boss, it can't be that popular, right? Why are there so many people? Kong Xiaobo pointed at the food street, surprised. Even the people from the other stalls are buying Tang Yin's barbecue? Lin Yi frowned. There were a lot of stalls surrounding Tang Yin's barbecue stall. Lin Yi, naturally, wouldn't believe that they were buying Tang Yin's barbecue. Tang Yin might be in trouble. Let's go check it out. Lin Yi said as he quickened his steps. As expected, a man's loud voice could be heard as they got closer. I say, boss lady, isn't that a little too much? We're all from the same street, and you're stealing our business like that. The speaker was naturally Zhang Biaojian. He'd been pissed off that Tang Yin's barbecue was more popular than his own, and he wasn't willing to lose his business just like that. He'd contacted a couple of other barbecue vendors, planning to give Mrs. Tang a hard time at night. As far as Zhang Biaojian, Mrs. Tang was no different from a widowed mother. A bedridden man was no different from a cripple. Her family was easy to bully. If he threatened her, she would definitely give in. Big bro, let's talk this out. It's not like we're trying to steal your business. Mrs. Tang was a little scared when she saw so many people helping Zhang Biaoqiao. None of the onlooking vendors said they were supporting Zhang Biaoqiao, but none of them spoke up for her either. You didn't steal my business? If you set up a stall here at noon, all the students will go to your stall to buy things. Who are we going to sell to? Another old woman from the barbecue stall spoke up. You call this not stealing business? Are you waiting for us to starve to death before you consider that you didn't steal our business? That's right. You sold more than all of us combined. Are you going to let us live? Another thin and tall man also began to speak. Mrs. Tang didn't expect that she would offend so many people while her business was doing well. She didn't know what to do. My mother is doing business properly. How is this stealing your business? Tang Yin was a little pissed off as she stood up for her mother. Our food tastes good, and the customers are willing to buy from us. How is that our fault? If you want your business to be good, then you can improve the recipe. Well said, little girl. Zhang Biaoqiao laughed. We want to improve the recipe as well. Since you've said it, then I won't hold back. Hand over the recipe, and we'll all learn from it. Then we'll call it even. The recipe belongs to us. Why should we give it to you? Tang Yin wasn't expecting Zhang Biaoqiao to be this unreasonable. What advantage would they have if they gave him the recipe? Why should we? Because you stole our business. We want the recipe, and that's what the people want. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? Zhang Biaoqiao said to the people beside him. Yeah. Why don't you give us the recipe? We can all earn money together. It's not good to keep everything to yourself. The old barbecue woman agreed. It's fine if you don't give us the recipe. You can change it back tomorrow, and we'll be the same. The tall and skinny man said darkly. What if we don't give you the recipe, and we don't change it? Tang Yin was on the verge of crying. What kind of bully was this? A bunch of people bullying her and her mother? Was there no law? Don't give it? You won't change it? Zhang Biaoqiao laughed coldly. That's not up to you. I don't think you can come to this food street tomorrow. Tang Yin's eyes were red. She was on the verge of tearing up. How could they bully her like that? Business was good, so they couldn't come here? Yin. Mrs. Tang was afraid that Tang Yin would do something irrational. She hugged Tang Yin and pointed at Zhang Biaoqiao with a trembling finger. Are you bullying us because we don't have a man? What's so great about bullying us? They wouldn't be this arrogant if their lover wasn't bedridden, right? Don't say it like that. This is what the people want, Zhang Biaoqiao said. He was bullying Tang Yin because she didn't have a man in her family. He knew about Tang Yin's family a long time ago. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so arrogant today. Mrs. Tang hugged Tang Yin, shaking with anger. Why was it so hard to do business? Bullying them because they saw that their family was making money? Wasn't this too much? Tang Yin was annoyed that she wasn't a boy. Even if she was, they wouldn't be so reckless, would they? Tang Yin looked at the crowd of people standing around, not bothering to meddle in their business. Tang Yin felt despair. Her family had just gotten better, and they had new hope. Was it going back to how it used to be? Xiang my ass. Lin Yi pushed through the crowd and rushed in. Wasn't this Zhang Biaoqiao a bit too much? Bullying Tang Yin and her mother? What was he thinking? Didn't he know that he was protecting the mother and daughter? The peddler that Lin Yi pushed away was about to yell at him, but quickly shut his mouth when he saw Lin Yi's face. This was the new young thug from First Middle. Even someone as powerful as Ruoming couldn't make a sound after getting slapped in the face by him. Who would want to mess with him? Lin Yi grabbed Zhang Biaoqiao by the collar and lifted him up. You're the leader, aren't you? Who the fuck? Zhang Biaoqiao wanted to yell at the person who grabbed his clothes, but shivered when he saw Lin Yi's face. He had quite an impression of Lin Yi. He'd slapped Zhou Ruoming until he didn't even dare let out a fart. Someone like that was truly ruthless. Zhang Biaoqiao used to sell seafood, but Zhou Ruoming got a stomachache and came to smash his stall the next day, beating him up so badly that he couldn't get out of bed for a couple of days. He didn't dare sell seafood anymore after he recovered, switching to selling barbecue. But he was still very afraid of Zhou Ruoming. It wasn't a secret that Zhou Ruoming had a big brother who was the head of the gangsters in the north of the city. Zhang Biaoqiao didn't dare do anything after finding out. It was just a game for him to beat him up. Chapter 189. Smashing them, little brother. What's the matter? Zhang Biaoqiao stuttered. He was no longer as domineering as before, and his expression was a little ugly. The barbecue woman and the tall skinny man obviously knew who Lin Yi was, the one who'd slapped Zhou Ruoming in the face last week at the food street. Who didn't know him? Who didn't know of such an all-powerful character? And that follower of his? Biaoqiao's eyes narrowed as he looked at Kong Xiaobo, remembering the student he'd talked to at lunch. Wasn't that Kong Xiaobo? He was Lin Yi's follower? Then they and Tang barbecue. Biaoqiao suddenly remembered a tragic reality. The reason why Lin Yi had slapped Zhou Ruoming last time was all because of Tang Yin. And who was Tang Yin? She was the daughter of the owner of Tang Barbecue. Was Lin Yi here to stand up for them this time? Biaoqiao froze at the thought of that possibility, his face draining of blood. How could he have overlooked something so important? He'd thought that Tang Barbecue didn't have a man anymore, and that he could bully them all he wanted, but the man from their house was a fierce one. You want the recipe, right? Lin Yi felt pity for these small merchants who worked so hard to earn money every day. But that wasn't a reason for them to bully people. Tang Yin's mother earned her money with her own hands, without stealing or robbing. These people, on the other hand, were making trouble for Mrs. Tang when they saw her making money, demanding the recipe from her. It was a behavior that infuriated Lin Yi. No. I don't want it. I'm just joking. Biaoqiao didn't dare ask for it anymore. As far as he was concerned, rich young masters like these would be beating him up for nothing, let alone Zhou Ruoming, who had a gangster brother. How could he be more powerful than Zhou Ruoming? I gave you the recipe. If you want it, I can give you one. Lin Yi let go of Zhang Biaoqiao. Zhang Biaoqiao lost his balance and fell to the ground. No, I really don't want to. If Zhang Biaoqiao was still thinking about the formula, his brain would be punctured. No, what are you doing? Are you guys just watching the show? Lin Yi smiled coldly as he glanced at the vendors who had been watching the show. Towards these people, Lin Yi didn't have too much resentment. Zhang Biaoqiang was the old man here, and they couldn't possibly not support Zhang Biaoqiang and speak up for Tong Yun's family. So Lin Yi didn't think about looking for trouble with them, but today was enough to scare them. Otherwise, they would think that Tong Yun's family had no one and could bully them as they pleased. These peddlers were frightened by Lin Yi's gaze. They quickly dispersed and went about their own business. This was not a good show. If they didn't handle it well, they would invite trouble for themselves. You two, don't leave. Lin Yi pointed at the old barbecue woman and the skinny man who were about to leave with the crowd. No. It's not our fault, it's Zhang Biaoqiao's idea. The old barbecue woman had already extinguished her anger. She was obviously someone who bullied the weak and feared the strong. Seeing that Lin Yi was ruthless, she immediately became careful. Yes, it's Zhang Biaoqiao's idea. We were just called here by him. The skinny man said. Do what he tells you to do? So you'll do whatever I tell you to do? Lin Yi asked back. The old barbecue woman didn't know what Lin Yi meant, but she still followed along. Bro, what do you want us to do? You two don't sell barbecue tomorrow. Change your job. No problem, right? Lin Yi rolled his eyes and changed their job. The old barbecue woman and the skinny man looked at each other. They wanted to object, but they didn't dare to. Who knew if Lin Yi would suddenly turn against them? Xiaobo. After Lin Yi said that, he ignored the two accomplices and called out to Kong Xiaobo. Boss, I'm here. You called me? Kong Xiaobo ran over excitedly. Awesome. It's really awesome. Although Kong Xiaobo was just a follower, he followed behind Lin Yi and watched the whole process. It made his blood boil. You go and smash his stall. Lin Yi pointed at Zhang Biaoqiao and said to Kong Xiaobo. Okay. Kong Xiaobo nodded and walked to Zhang Biaoqiao's stall. Under everyone's gaze, he kicked Zhang Biaoqiao's stall and flipped it over. Charcoal, skewers, money boxes, and everything else were scattered all over the ground. Kong Xiaobo was still not satisfied. He stepped on the barbecue rack again and again until it was deformed. It was basically impossible to use it again. Zhang Biaoqiao's heart was bleeding, but he didn't dare to say no. Smashing a stall was fine, but he didn't want to smash himself again. Last time, Zhou Ruoming could beat him up so badly that he couldn't get out of bed for a few days. This Lin Yi. Zhang Biaoqiao broke into a cold sweat just thinking about it. All right. Lin Yi waved at Kong Xiaobo, indicating that he could come back. Then Lin Yi turned to Zhang Biaoqiao and said, this time it's smashing a stall, next time it'll be smashing people. This place of yours is pretty good. You don't mind if I give it to Tang Ji tomorrow, right? I don't. Zhang Biaoqiao could only nod. What else could he say? The other party had already made it very clear that this time it was smashing a stall. Next time it would be smashing people. If he said no, the other party would probably start smashing people until he agreed. Since you're quite obedient, I'll give you the spot at Tang Ji. Sell something else tomorrow. Lin Yi changed Zhang Biaoqiao's line of work. Is that okay with you? Okay. I'll change. I'll definitely change. Zhang Biaoqiao nodded. The barbecue rack was smashed, and he couldn't do it even if he wanted to. It wasn't a bad thing to change his line of work. Even if Lin Yi asked him to sell barbecue now, he wouldn't dare. What if he stole customers from Tang Ji and Lin Yi came back to smash his stall? Who could stand that? Xiaobo, when you're free tomorrow, come and see if they've changed their line of work. If they haven't, just smash it. Lin Yi ordered Kong Xiaobo. No problem, boss. Leave it to me. I'm good at this. Kong Xiaobo nodded and looked at the barbecue lady and the tall, thin man with a smile. The last bit of hope for these two had been shattered. If they didn't want to be smashed tomorrow, they'd better change their line of work. The two of them were a little regretful that they'd listened to Zhang Biaoqiao's lies, saying that they would split the recipe evenly among the three of them. Now that even their line of work had been changed, what was the point of having the recipe? Of course, Lin Yi wasn't really going to let Kong Xiaobo patrol. He was just trying to scare them. He didn't have that much time. Lin Yi didn't sympathize with Zhang Biaoqiao at all. He'd reaped what he sowed. Chapter 190. The mind of a girl with Lin Yi's skills. Bullying these vendors was a bit of an overreaction. But Biaogan had crossed Lin Yi's bottom line. Lin Yi wasn't too sure about Tang Yin's family situation, but they definitely weren't rich. Tang Yin's father wasn't here, however, and that gave Lin Yi a few guesses. Biaogan was obviously bullying people. If that was the case, then Lin Yi had no choice but to bully him a little, to let him know that bullying the weak wasn't as easy as it seemed. What are you still sitting here for? Waiting for me to treat you to dinner? Lin Yi asked, looking at Biaogan on the ground. Biaogan squeezed out a smile as he climbed up from the ground. Of course not, of course not. I'll go now, I'll go now. With that, Biaogan sprinted away, not daring to keep his stall anymore as he picked up the money box and left the food street. As for the awe-inspiring and domineering barbecue woman and the feminine tall and thin man, they were also quietly packing up their stalls. Tomorrow they would be changing professions. Auntie, are you all right? Lin Yi asked as he walked over to Mrs. Tang, who didn't know what to do. Mrs. Tang couldn't react to the sudden turn of events. I'm fine, Mrs. Tang said, recovering from her shock. Biaogan's overbearing face was still fresh in her mind, and now he was running away with his tail between his legs. It was all because of this kid in front of her. So what if Biaogan was overbearing? There was someone even more overbearing than him. Tang Yin lowered her head, her emotions complicated. She didn't know what to say. As a top student, she didn't approve of Lin Yi's way of handling things, but she had to admit that Lin Yi's way of handling things was the most appropriate. Biaogan wouldn't dare bully her family anymore. But why would Lin Yi do this? Why would he help her family? Tang Yun knew very well that Lin Yi was trying to get on her good side and pursue her, using this method to move her heart. Although it was a cliché method, Tang Yun had to admit that it was effective. At least in her eyes, Lin Yi wasn't that despicable anymore. Even if he was despicable, it was towards those who were even more despicable. He just barged into her life like that. Tang Yin wanted to get rid of Lin Yi, but she couldn't. How am I going to face Lin Yi in the future? Continue to ridicule him? Tang Yun knew that she couldn't do it. She wasn't a heartless person, and Lin Yi had done so much. No matter what it was for, he had helped her and her family. So Tang Yun could only choose to escape. Lin Yi's identity made her worry. Thinking of Xiao Fan's painful lesson, Tang Yun's heart once again closed up. Lin Yi looked at the silent Tang Yun and didn't mind. Auntie, I just came over after school to ask when we're going there this weekend. Tang Yun didn't say it clearly before, so I wanted to confirm it. Saturday morning. Come whenever you're free. Our house is at the third door of the slums. Grass Alley. Mrs. Tang recovered from her shock, but her face was full of gratitude. Lin Yi, thank you so much for today. If you didn't come, we wouldn't know what to do. We'd be bullied. Haha, it won't happen again, Lin Yi smiled. Auntie, I'll be leaving with Xiaobo first. See you on Saturday. No, sit here, I'll cook something for you guys. Mrs. Tang naturally wouldn't let Lin Yi leave just like that. She had to thank him no matter what. The more Mrs. Tang looked at Lin Yi, the more she liked himself. This young man had the arrogance of a rich young master, but he was reasonable. He was scary when he was domineering, but he was usually very easygoing with people he was familiar with. Not today, it's getting late. Let's go on Saturday. We'll be there on time. Lin Yi's phone vibrated. It was probably a message from Meng Yao or Yushu, so Lin Yi had to get back as soon as possible. All right then. Mrs. Tang let go of Lin Yi after seeing how insistent Lin Yi was. Yin, go send your classmate off. Okay. Tang Yun nodded unwillingly, but didn't refuse this time. She lowered her head and walked in front of Lin Yi without a word. Ah! Lin Yi smiled faintly and turned to leave with Kong Xiaobo. Tang Yun followed behind them, not knowing what she was thinking. All right, you don't have to send me off if you don't want to. You can go back. Lin Yi looked at Tang Yun amused. I didn't. Tang Yun humphed. Today. Thank you. I saw it on the way, that's all. If it were someone else, I'd probably care too. Lin Yi said, using the word, maybe. In truth, Lin Yi really wouldn't care if it were someone else. If he cared about everything, then there was no need for him to stay here anymore. He might as well become an Ultraman or a Spider-Man. Tang Yun, of course, didn't believe that Lin Yi said it was on the way. If it wasn't for her, why would a young master like him care about something like this? But the more she owed Lin Yi, the more uneasy she felt. Do you really want to be friends with me? Tang Yun suddenly raised her head to look at Lin Yi. Tang Yun's reaction surprised Lin Yi. He was surprised at Tang Yun's sudden question. In fact, it took a lot of courage for Tang Yun to ask this question. Lin Yi had interfered in her family's life. It was impossible for Tang Yun not to have any thoughts about it. She wanted to confirm what Lin Yi's goal was. However, when Tang Yun asked this question, although it looked like she was in the right, she was actually very guilty. A girl asking this kind of question made Tang Yun's face burn. Fortunately, it was night time, and Lin Yi shouldn't be able to see it. Tang Yun was nervous, so when Lin Yi said, "Ah," Tang Yun took it as an acknowledgement of her question. "Do your parents know? Will they agree?" Tang Yun didn't wait for Lin Yi to answer and continued to ask. To be honest, Tang Yun was also nervous. Tang Yun saw what Lin Yi did for her family. She didn't know how she felt about Lin Yi. She hated him, but there was also a special feeling. My parents? Lin Yi paused again. Who were his parents? He didn't know either. Old Lin said he was an orphan. Tang Yun took Lin Yi's days as hesitation. Tang Yun's fragile heart tightened, and the budding feelings disappeared in an instant. Chapter 191. More positive. Tang Yin turned around and ran back to her mother, disappearing into the night in the blink of an eye. Lin Yi came back to his senses and looked at Lin Yi, who was already far away. He sighed softly. Did he fall in love with this girl? Lin Yi didn't know if he'd matured, or if he'd become impulsive. He wouldn't have thought like this if it were a year ago. Had the comfort of his life changed him? It seemed like he'd have to talk to old man Lin about it. "Boss, what's wrong with you?" Kong Xiaobo, who'd been standing on the sidelines, couldn't hold it in anymore. "What are you spacing out for? Tang Yin asked you if you wanted to be friends with her, and you just spaced out." Kong Xiaobo had a look of exasperation on his face. A typical eunuch panicking even though the emperor wasn't panicking. "She just wanted to confirm my feelings, nothing else." Lin Yi shook his head. "Let's go. Stop looking." "Boss, I really don't know what to say. It was such a good opportunity, and you didn't take it," Kong Xiaobo said as he lowered his head, as if it was his own business. "There'll be more opportunities," Lin Yi said as he patted the back of Kong Xiaobo's head. "Let's go. I need to get back." He looked at the text on his phone as he got in the cab. It was indeed from Meng Yao, asking him when he was coming home. It seemed that the miss wasn't as cold as she looked on the surface. After spending some time with her, Lin Yi had gotten a good grasp of Meng Yao's personality. She was cold on the outside, but warm on the inside. She had a bit of a temper, but she didn't really see herself as a follower or a servant. It was also the main reason why Lin Yi had accepted the job. Who knew how many people would fight for the chance to serve two misses? Lin Yi naturally knew that. He replied to Meng Yao, telling her that he'd be home soon. Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he shook his head after a while. She still had the demeanor of a miss after all. Lin Yi paid the taxi fare and returned to the villa. Faubert had already given him the keys, so Lin Yi didn't need Meng Yao to open the door for him. There was no one in the living room. Evidently Meng Yao and Yushu had gone upstairs. General Wei Wu was crouching lazily at the foot of the stairs, lowering his head to continue his nap when he saw Lin Yi. Lin Yi put his bag down and walked to the dining room. Li Fu was already there with food, evidently indicating that Yushu and Meng Yao had already eaten. Ah! Lin Yi couldn't help but chuckle as he looked at the dishes on the table. The two misses had taken out some of the dishes today, and even then, they didn't finish the food since they weren't big eaters. The food in the sealed box, on the other hand, hadn't been touched at all. It was probably for Lin Yi. He didn't know which miss it was, but his treatment had improved. Yushu. He wasn't too bad with her, but this girl. Lin Yi shook his head. It was already good enough that she didn't put the food that Meng Yao had eaten back into the box, pretending that it hadn't been touched at all. It had to be Meng Yao. The miss wasn't too bad to him, after all. Lin Yi thought as he scooped a bowl of rice and started wolfing it down. After dinner, Lin Yi cleaned the box and put the concert disc he bought in the afternoon on the coffee table before returning to his room. Lin Yi was about to give the old man a call to talk about the situation here. After closing the door, Lin Yi dialed old Lin's number. Under normal circumstances, Lin Yi wouldn't contact old Lin when he was on a mission, and he'd only let him know that he was safe when the mission was over. The phone rang a few times before old Lin's vulgar voice came through. "Hello. Old man, it's E." Lin Yi said after a moment of silence. "It's E? How's the mission going?" Old Lin was evidently drinking, and Lin Yi could even hear the sound of him eating peanuts. Lin Yi didn't know what to say at the mention of the mission. "I say, old man, what kind of mission did you give me? I'm just following the miss around like a follower every day. Are you trying to make me a high-class servant? You'll know what the mission is after some time," Old Lin said, evidently not wanting to waste his breath on this topic. After some time? How long? That was Lin Yi's main concern, and it was also a prelude to what he was going to say next. Haha, as long as you want. There's no time limit. It all depends on how fast you finish it. Old Lin said nonchalantly. As long as I want? Really? Lin Yi hesitated for a moment before speaking his mind. Old man, I kind of want to stay here. Oh, you want to stay there already? That's great. Old Lin was a little excited at Lin Yi's words. That means your mission is progressing well. It's a good start. What do you mean? Lin Yi was a little confused. What did this have to do with the progress of the mission? It's nothing. If you think it's good, then don't come back. I'll settle down there in a few years. You can build a foundation there first, have a few kids, and I'll be a grandfather. Old Lin seemed to approve of Lin Yi staying in Songshan, even more so than Lin Yi himself. Lin Yi thought he'd have to spend a lot of effort to convince old Lin to let him start a peaceful life. But he didn't even get to say anything, and old Lin was telling him to have kids already? What was the meaning of this? Was he planning to retire? I say, old man, what about the missions in the future? Lin Yi was a little suspicious. Was this the same stingy old man he knew? Giving him dangerous missions just to earn some money. Missions? There's no more missions in the future. This is the last one. Old Lin said. Of course, if you want to exercise your muscles, you can take on a few missions. That's. Lin Yi wondered if old Lin had drunk too much. At first, Lin Yi was very hesitant on how to tell the old man about it. After all, he didn't belong to this kind of life before, but the old man was already telling him to have kids before he even said anything. Lin Yi was a little sweaty, but one of his worries had been resolved just like that. He'd go hit on Tang Yun tomorrow. He didn't have to worry about anything anymore. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't touch the two misses of his family, Lin Yi wouldn't have gone so far. Is there anything else? Widow Wang from the village entrance is here, and I want to catch up with her. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Bye. Old Lin didn't wait for Lin Yi to say anything before hanging up. Chapter 192. Chapter 192. Dilapidated slums. Lin Yi drove Yushu's yellow beetle to Kong Xiaobo after making sure that Meng Yao and Yushu weren't going out. Faubert had already gotten the driver's license, and he'd given it to Lin Yi the day before. Lin Yi wasn't afraid of getting mugged by the police now. The two misses were watching the Blu-ray of Su Shihan's concert, the one Lin Yi had bought from the bookstore. They wouldn't be going out for a walk. Lin Yi gave Kong Xiaobo a call before leaving the house. The cheapest knockoff phone these days was only 100 or 200 kuai, and it was normal for high schoolers to have their own phones. Tang Yin was probably the only one who didn't have one. Xiaobo, where are you? Lin Yi asked. I'm at home, not leaving yet. Boss, ready to go? Kong Xiaobo had been looking forward to this day for a week now. Going to the school beauty's house for dinner was a rare honor, and so Kong Xiaobo had woken up early, waiting for Lin Yi's call. Where's your house? I'll come pick you up. Lin Yi said. You'll come pick me up? Kong Xiaobo blinked, not understanding what Lin Yi was getting at. My house is on Ningshi Street. Boss, which way is it? If it's not on the way, why don't we meet at the slums? Ningshi Street. Wait for me then. Lin Yi said before hanging up. Yushu's car had a GPS system installed, and Lin Yi keyed in Ningshi Street and started driving. Ningshi Street was actually on Lin Yi's way to school every day, and it was pretty easy to find. It didn't take long before Lin Yi parked the car near the bus stop. Lin Yi called Kong Xiaobo and told him that he was waiting for him at the station. Not long after, Lin Yi saw Kong Xiaobo, who was dressed very handsomely, running to the station platform. He looked around as he ran, obviously looking for Lin Yi. Xiaobo here. Lin Yi opened the front passenger door and waved at Kong Xiaobo. Boss. Kong Xiaobo looked at Lin Yi and his car in surprise. He quickly ran over and asked, Is this your car? Hee hee. Lin Yi laughed. He didn't confirm or deny it. For this kind of thing it would be difficult to explain too much. It was better not to explain at all. Sure enough, Kong Xiaobo thought that Lin Yi had acquiesced. He got in the car and said, Boss, I didn't expect your family to be so well off. I thought you came from a poor village. It's not too bad. Lin Yi told the truth. If the missions were as his old man said, only a few hundred or a few thousand, then his family would only be okay at best. If it were the market price, then his family would be a millionaire a long time ago, or even a billionaire. Of course, Lin Yi didn't want to be too calculative with his old man. If the old man was a miser, then so be it. He didn't lack food or drinks, and he just treated as earning some money for his old man's retirement. But boss, why'd you buy a car like this? It looks like a girl's car. Look at the cushions, the interior. Kong Xiaobo said as he looked at the interior of the car. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. This car was Yushu's, of course it was feminine. Eh? All of a sudden, Xiaobo's eyes stopped on an ornament on the rearview mirror. That's Yushu? Boss, no way? You have a crush on her? Kong Xiaobo's eyes went wide as he stared at the decoration in disbelief. It was a small photo frame, and it was Yushu in it. Lin Yi didn't notice it before, but now that Kong Xiaobo mentioned it, he looked at the decoration. He was speechless. This decoration. It's the owner's. Boss, I know. Kong Xiaobo smiled as if he knew everything. Boss, I'm a man too, I know. It's fine, I won't tell Tang Yun. Lin Yi took it off and tossed it into the drawer on the passenger seat. Yeah, hurry up and hide it. It'll be bad if Tang Yun sees it. Xiaobo nodded in agreement. Lin Yi sweated and almost crashed the car. Slums referred to the single-story houses in the built-up areas of the city. The houses were old, the quality was poor, the average floor space was small, the infrastructure wasn't complete, the transportation was inconvenient, the security and fire hazard were high, and the environment was dirty, messy, and bad. Many developing cities had such shanty towns. Of course, not all of the shanty towns were bungalows. There were also some buildings, but these buildings were three-story red brick houses. They were not much better than bungalows. There were no gas pipes, no network engineering, and so on. Some didn't even have a kitchen vent. Lin Yi's old house was mostly this kind of dilapidated house, so he didn't think much of it. Kong Xiaobo, on the other hand, had only passed by the slums before and had never seen it. He was completely shocked when he saw it today. He didn't expect Tang Yun to live in such a terrible environment. Dirty coal piles, firewood piles, smelly garbage, and smelly drains. It was a horrible environment. And in this horrible environment, Tang Yun, the commoner beauty of first middle school, was born. Boss, this environment. Kong Xiaobo couldn't help but close the window. He couldn't stand the smell. The place I used to live was pretty much like this. Lin Yi said with a smile, not thinking much of it at all. There was one more thing he didn't say. It was the battlefield, much worse than this. He could hide in the gutters and swamps for days. Lin Yi found grass alley and turned the car in. But after turning in, it was difficult to drive in. Every door was full of junk. Lin Yi had no choice but to park the car at the entrance of the alleyway. The residents in the alleyway looked at the brightly colored, obviously expensive car, a little surprised. Under normal circumstances, there were very few cars coming to Shanty Town. In addition to taxis, there were almost no residents here who could afford a car. Since they could afford a car, they did not live here. They had already bought a house in a better place. Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo got out of the car, locked the car, and followed the number on the door to Tang Yun's house. The third door should be here. Lin Yi looked at the dilapidated door and sighed slightly. He guessed that Tang Yun's family's condition was poor, but in this slums, Tang Yun's family's condition should be below average. Tang Yun's yard was obviously a lot more dilapidated than the others, and it probably hadn't been repaired in a long time. He didn't know if it was because of the lack of time or because of the lack of money, but Lin Yi felt a little sad looking at it. Chapter 193. A photo. Lin Yi knocked on the door, and Tang Yun's voice came from the yard after a while. Who is it? It's me. Lin Yi said. There was an obvious silence on the other side of the door. Then with a creak, the door opened, revealing Tang Yun's beautiful face. There was no smile on it, only coldness. Come in. Lin Yi paused. Tang Yun's attitude wasn't good to him before, but she was honest and straightforward. She'd throw a tantrum at him and step on his feet. Today, however, Tang Yun's eyes were filled with coldness. Kong Xiaobo didn't notice that as he followed Lin Yi into Tang Yun's yard. He pointed at the mess in the yard, surprised at the sight. Boss, look. Where's the cherry tree? People who lived in single-story houses usually planted things in their yards. Almost every house in Lin Yi's hometown had that, so he wasn't too curious about it. Kong Xiaobo grew up in the city, so he didn't see much of these things. He was excited, but curious at the same time. Is that your classmate? Mrs. Tang's voice came from the house. It was an old brick house, and it was impossible to tell the age of the house. The house was made of red bricks, and there was no cement on the outside. The windows were sealed with plastic sheets, and the door was covered in rust. But in this shabby environment, there lived a girl full of sunshine, the commoner beauty of first middle school. Yeah. Tang Yin replied faintly, her tone no longer carrying any anger or dissatisfaction towards Lin Yi. It was as if she was talking to a stranger. Lin Yi's here, come in. Mrs. Tang said happily as she walked out of the house to greet Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo. Auntie. Lin Yi greeted as he entered the house with Kong Xiaobo. It was a typical old-fashioned room, with a small kitchen and a small room behind the small kitchen. Tang Yin's room was probably there. Come in and sit. Mrs. Tang called Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo in before turning to Tang Yin. Yin, you keep Xue Yuan company. I'll go prepare the barbecue. Oh. Tang Yin nodded, not objecting as she sat on the chair opposite Lin Yi. The sofa was limited, and Tang Yin didn't want to squeeze with Lin Yi, so she chose to sit opposite Lin Yi. Mrs. Tang went out to work, and Tang Yin didn't say anything as well. She sat on the chair, resting her chin on her hand as she stared at the floor, deep in thought. Lin Yi didn't know what was wrong with Tang Yin today. She treated him so strangely, like he was a stranger. Sitting there awkwardly wasn't a good idea, so Lin Yi tried to start a conversation. Is uncle in the house? Lin Yi heard noises from inside the house. The door was closed, but with Lin Yi's hearing, it didn't escape his ears. My dad's injured at work, he can't get up from the bed, Tang Yin explained. Injured at work? Is it serious? Lin Yi was startled. He'd imagined all sorts of situations for Tang Yin's family, but he didn't expect Tang Yin's father to be injured and bedridden. He's saving money for surgery later this year. If the surgery is successful, he'll be able to recover, Tang Yin said faintly, as if she was talking to a stranger. Injured at work? Then why didn't the company pay? Kong Xiaobo interrupted. What can we do if the factory owner doesn't want to pay? Tang Yin seemed to have accepted her fate. She was helpless against the factory owner who didn't want to pay. She wasn't angry anymore. I'll go see Uncle Tang. Lin Yi stood up and wanted to go inside, but Tang Yin stopped him. My dad is resting, don't go. Tang Yin didn't let Lin Yi in. She didn't want to have anything to do with Lin Yi anymore, so naturally, she didn't want him to go inside the house. If she owed Lin Yi another favor, how could she pay it back? Tang Yin wasn't ignorant of the ways of the world. On the contrary, her father's incident made her and her mother suffer the coldness of the world, and they had a deeper understanding of it. Why would Lin Yi help her family? In her family, other than herself, what else could be valued by Lin Yi? In the end, when they couldn't pay back the favor they owed him, they could only pay it back with their bodies. Lin Yi only wanted to see how Mr. Tang's injury was, whether there was a better way to treat it without surgery. But since Tang Yin was against it, Lin Yi wasn't in a hurry. Kong Xiaobo didn't want to be a third wheel. He walked to the side while Lin Yi and Tang Yin were talking. He looked around the room, and his eyes suddenly fell on a photo in the bookshelf. There were 3 girls in the photo. One was Tang Yin, and the other was Tang Yin's best friend, Lu Xinwen. Kong Xiaobo had some impression of her, but there was another girl that made Kong Xiaobo's eyes light up. Of the 3 girls in the photo, Tang Yin was undoubtedly the prettiest and the most outstanding one, but the other girl was only a little bit weaker than her. She looked so soft and weak, and it made people want to protect her with just one look. Who was this person? Kong Xiaobo's heart started to move again. As for Tang Yin, Kong Xiaobo had completely given up. As long as Lin Yi could catch up with him, he would be satisfied, but this girl? This photo? Kong Xiaobo couldn't help but ask. Tang Yin turned her head towards Kong Xiaobo's voice and saw the photo in the bookshelf. 2 of my best friends. I know this Lu Xinwen, she's also from our school, but this. Kong Xiaobo hesitated. Although it was rude to ask directly, he didn't want to give up. Her name is Lan Fan, she's a good friend I grew up with. Tang Yin clearly didn't want to talk about this anymore. She only briefly introduced Lan Fan and didn't say anything else. Kong Xiaobo replied with an "oh," and silently remembered the name. Lan Fan, it sounded pretty good? He just didn't know where he was studying now. She definitely wasn't from first school. If she was, there was no way he wouldn't know her. Although Lan Fan wasn't one of the 3 school beauties, she was definitely a popular girl in the school. She could be ranked in the top 10 of the girls in first school. Kong Xiaobo wanted to ask about Lan Fan's current situation, but Tang Yin didn't seem to want to talk about it. Chapter 194. Chapter 194. The girl who jumped off a building. Lin Yi, you eat with your classmates first, there's still a lot left. Mrs. Tang said before leaving the house. Mom, I'll go help you. Tang Yun said awkwardly, wanting to go accompany her mother. Yin, you eat with your classmates, get some drinks and chat with them. I'll be fine here. Mrs. Tang said with a smile. I'm not busy here, there's so many customers at the food street, I can handle it all by myself. Oh. Tang Yun pouted unhappily. Eat with them? Drink with them and chat with them? Wouldn't I be the 3rd escort then? Kong Xiaobo had been looking forward to the barbecue, but his mind was elsewhere. His eyes kept glancing at the photo on the bookshelf as he thought about the girl named Lan Fan. He couldn't help but ask. Tang Yun, why don't we invite Lu Xinwen and Lan Fan to eat together? Kong Xiaobo had put Lu Xinwen in front of him, but it was just a facade. He had ulterior motives. Lu Xinwen was a classmate from first middle, so it was only natural that he would be more familiar with her. Kong Xiaobo had put her in front of him, and Lan Fan was the main focus. Xiaobo felt his blood rush to his head the moment he saw Lan Fan. He knew that he wasn't good enough for Tang Yin, and he didn't fantasize about it, but Lan Fan. Xiaobo really did want her. Tang Yun frowned, not knowing why Kong Xiaobo was so interested in the girl in the photo. I'll treat them to dinner alone. You can eat if you want, or sit if you don't. Kong Xiaobo couldn't help but laugh dryly. Of course I'll eat. It smells so good. Lin Yi could roughly guess what Kong Xiaobo was thinking. Lin Yi had seen Lan Fan in the photo from the corner of his eyes. She was a beauty, but not as pretty as Tang Yun, but she was still outstanding. No wonder Kong Xiaobo was tempted. Lin Yi looked at the barbecue on the table. He had to admit that Mrs. Tang's control of the heat was pretty good. Coupled with his own ingredients, it was hard for the business to not be booming. She was just about to pick one up to try when the door was pushed open. A girl barged in and yelled, Tang Yin, bad news. Fan wants to jump off the building. Come and help me persuade her. It was Tang Yun's best friend, Lu Xinwen. She didn't notice that Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo were in the room when she came in, but when she finished talking, she realized that there were 2 other people in the room. Especially when she saw Lin Yi, her expression turned ugly. 2 days ago, she had just told Tang Yun about Lin Yi, and Tang Yun swore that she had nothing to do with Lin Yi, but in the blink of an eye, Lin Yi appeared in Tang Yun's house. Lu Xinwen sighed. What a silly girl who was blinded by love. She couldn't believe Tang Yun's explanation of sitting in Lin Yi's car. What? Fan wants to jump off the building? Where? Tang Yun's heart skipped a beat after hearing Lu Xinwen's words. She stood up and was about to rush outside. In the alley in front of their house, Lu Xinwen said hurriedly, let's go and persuade her. At this time, Mrs. Tang also rushed in. She was in the middle of barbecuing when she saw Lu Xinwen rushing into her house. She said a few words to her, but Lu Xinwen didn't hear her. Mrs. Tang naturally followed her in to see what was going on. At the door, she heard the shocking news from Lu Xinwen. Lan Fan was Tang Yun's childhood friend, and they had a very good relationship. It was only after that incident that they met. It should have been over after such a long time, but she suddenly heard that Lan Fan wanted to jump off the building. What should she do? Mom, I'll go with Wanwen. Tang Yun didn't say anything else as she pulled Lu Xinwen and ran outside. Hey, be careful. Mrs. Tang hurriedly reminded her. Auntie, what's wrong? Lin Yi didn't understand. He only knew that someone wanted to jump off the building. Hey, one of Yun'er's good friends, Lan Fan, got hurt a few years ago. I didn't expect her to want to jump off a building. Mrs. Tang said worriedly. No, I have to go take a look too. But Mrs. Tang hadn't even finished her sentence when Xiaobo heard Lan Fan's name. He charged out the door with a whoosh, chasing after Tang Yun and Xinwen. Lan Fan. Lin Yi shook his head. No wonder Kong Xiaobo was so nervous. Ah? Lin Yi, your classmate. Mrs. Tang was confused by Kong Xiaobo's actions. Lin Yi, of course, knew why Kong Xiaobo was acting like this. Auntie, let's go, we'll go as well. There were already a lot of people in front of the building, and it was quite rowdy. Tang Yun and Xinwen, on the other hand, stood outside the crowd, not knowing what to do. Xiaobo ran over as well, and when he raised his head, he froze. The window on the left side of the third floor was completely open, and there was a girl in white lying on top of it. It was Lan Fan from the photo. Although she looked haggard, she still had a delicate beauty to her. Kong Xiaobo's heart skipped a beat. Fun. I'm Lu Xinwen, Wenwen. Can you hear me? Lu Xinwen made a trumpet with her hands and shouted. However, Fan, who was on the third floor, didn't seem to hear Lu Xinwen's words at all. She was in a trance, and her eyes were empty as she looked into the distance. Fan, go back, it's dangerous. Tang Yun was also nervous, and didn't know what to do. The people in the shanty town knew that Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen were Xiaofan's best friends. The crowd automatically opened a path for Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen to pass. When they got to the front, they saw Lan Fan's mother, Song Huiping, standing there anxiously. She didn't know what to do, and her eyes were filled with tears. She looked at Fan upstairs, and shouted her name, but Fan ignored her. Auntie Song Fan. Tang Yun saw Huiping and quickly asked. Ah, Tang Yun, Lu Xinwen, you're here. Hurry and talk to Fan. I don't know what happened, but she locked herself in her room and wanted to jump off the building. Her father went up, but he couldn't open the door, and he's contacting the locksmith company. Huiping was anxious, but she still put her hope on Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen. Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo also squeezed over. Kong Xiaobo looked even more anxious than Tang Yun, and his forehead was covered in sweat. Boss, what should we do? What should we do? Chapter 195. Chapter 195. Shocking resemblance. Don't jump. Please don't jump. What's wrong with you? You're still young. You have the best years of your life. Kong Xiaobo didn't know why, but he was so excited that he wanted to jump up and down. His voice was shockingly loud, as if there was a loudspeaker in his mouth. Kong Xiaobo's loud voice was much louder than Tang Yun's, Lu Xinwen's, and Huiping's voices. It stood out in the midst of the noisy crowd. This time, the voice attracted the attention of Lan Fan on the third floor. Lan Fan lowered her head in a daze and looked towards the source of the voice. With one look, her face revealed an expression of disbelief. Her eyes also slightly brightened and she became very excited. She muttered to herself. Although her voice was not loud, the people downstairs who were close to her could still hear her clearly. Zhao Ming, is that you? You finally came to see me. Lan Fan's lips curved into a happy smile. You came to find me. You didn't abandon me after all. Zhao Ming. Kong Xiaobo didn't understand what Lan Fan was talking about. He looked at Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen, confused. Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen were confused as well, thinking that Lan Fan was hallucinating. But when they turned around and saw Kong Xiaobo's face, Tang Yun couldn't help but call out in surprise. Wenwen. He and that Kong Ming. Tang Yun felt that Xiaobo looked familiar, but she didn't pay much attention to it. She knew that he wasn't a good person, and that he must have been a bad student at school. Maybe she'd seen him do something bad before, but she didn't think too much about it. Xiaobo looked familiar, but Tang Yun didn't think too much about it. But today, after hearing Lan Fan's words and looking at Kong Xiaobo's face, Tang Yun had to admit that it was similar. It was too similar. It was hard to link the two together if you didn't think about it in that direction, but if you compared Kong Xiaobo and Kong Ming, the two's facial features, nose, mouth, they weren't exactly the same, but they were shockingly similar. Not good. Lan Fan wouldn't mistake him for Kong Xiaoming, right? Don't make any mistakes. Lu Xinwen was also shocked. How could there be so many coincidences in the world? At this time, a boy who looked like Kong Ming appeared at the scene of Lan Fan jumping off the building. Kong Ming? From Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen's conversation, Kong Xiaobo could guess something. Lan Fan must have been hurt in the past, otherwise she wouldn't have said those strange things. However, the name Kong Ming was like a sharp sword, stabbing into Kong Xiaobo's heart. His face twisted as he clenched his fists tightly. Even his breathing became rapid. You said that she mistook me for Kong Ming? Yeah, You look so much like the man who abandoned Xiao Fan. You're not his relative, are you? Lu Xinwen didn't see the strange expression on Kong Xiaobo's face. She thought that he was confused, so she didn't hold back when she spoke. Go hide, your face is going to collide with mine. Relatives, huh? Kong Xiaoming's eyes flashed with a hint of malevolence as he repeated those 3 words. Lu Xinwen was right. Kong Mingming was Kong Xiaobo's relative. He was the grandson of his grandpa's lineage, so technically, he was his second cousin. What are you mumbling about? Hurry up and hide. Don't let anything happen to you. Lu Xinwen didn't hear what Kong Xiaobo said and frowned. Kong Xiaobo's heart was filled with bitterness and anger. Was she abandoned by his second cousin, Kong Mingming? Such a good girl was forced to jump off a building? Just as Kong Xiaobo was in a daze, Lan Fan, who was on the 3rd floor, showed a happy and satisfied smile. Xiaoming bro. I'm coming, wait for me. Tang Yun, Lu Xinwen, and Song Huiping knew that this wasn't good. Lan Fan's emotions weren't right. Did she take things too hard? Xiao Fan. Tang Yun called out nervously, but before she could finish, a white shadow fell from the building. Xiao Fan. Huiping screamed at the top of her lungs. Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen didn't know what to do. They didn't think that Lan Fan would jump off the building without any warning. Lan Fan. Kong Xiaobo rushed up, wanting to catch Lan Fan. But whether it was speed or judgment, he couldn't accurately pinpoint the location of Lan Fan's fall. Lin Yi sighed and chased after him. He quickly pushed Kong Xiaobo to the correct location. But under the current situation, no one would notice these minute changes. Lin Yi was very secretive. People who saw it would only think that he was here with Kong Xiaobo to save her. In a battlefield filled with bullets, it was hard to defend against an enemy's sneak attack. If one couldn't pinpoint the direction, it was almost impossible to walk out alive. Lin Yi pretended to be nervous the moment Xiao Fan fell to the ground, but he pushed Kong Xiaobo's arm and caught Xiao Fan. With the speed and height of Xiao Fan's fall, if one wasn't professionally trained, they wouldn't be able to withstand the gravity of the fall. It was very likely that they would let go again after catching her. Although there was a buffer in between, it could easily cause casualties. So, Lin Yi could only help Kong Xiaobo once. This was a guy who'd been following him around ever since he'd transferred, calling him boss. He didn't mind helping him save the damsel in distress this time. But when Kong Xiaobo caught Xiao Fan firmly, Lin Yi quietly let go of Kong Xiaobo's arm. He believed that Kong Xiaobo wouldn't have noticed anything amiss in the tense situation just now. In a situation like this, there was only nervousness in his heart, and his mind was a mess. Even if he thought about it later, he wouldn't remember it clearly. Xiao Fan. Tang Yun, Lu Xinwen, Song Huiping, and the surrounding residents surrounded Kong Xiaobo. They were happy and surprised when they saw that Kong Xiaobo caught Xiao Fan. Did Kong Xiaobo catch Xiao Fan? Because of the sudden incident, although they had already called the police, it would take some time for the police and fire department to arrive. It was only 10 minutes, and they didn't expect Xiao Fan to jump down. Xiao Fan, are you okay? Don't scare Mom, are you okay? Song Huiping was the first to rush up and wanted to snatch Xiao Fan from Kong Xiaobo's arms. But Kong Xiaobo was also stunned and hugged Xiao Fan tightly. Chapter 196. The emotional Kong Xiaobo Lin Yi had already moved to the side, allowing Kong Xiaobo to be the hero saving the damsel in distress. Lan Fan had fainted, perhaps from the shock of falling from a high place, or perhaps from Kong Xiaobo hugging her too tightly. Huiping felt Lan Fan's nose and let out a sigh of relief when she realized that she was still breathing. Phew! Xinwen gave Kong Xiaobo a thumbs up after seeing that Xiao Fan was fine. Amazing! Hero! You caught her from so high up. Amazing! Xinwen's words reminded Huiping that the young man in front of her was her daughter's savior. She touched her daughter's skinny cheeks as she thanked Xiaobo profusely. Kid, thank you so much. If it weren't for your bad hand, Arfan wouldn't even know. Song Huiping was so scared that tears rolled down her cheeks. Yeah, it was scary to think about the situation just now. If Kong Xiaobo hadn't caught her, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Auntie, it's what I should do. Kong Xiaobo's face was a little red. He'd saved Lan Fan purely out of love for her. Someone else might not have been so nervous. Kong Xiaobo wasn't a saint, he wasn't a firefighter, he wasn't a police officer, and he definitely wasn't an Ultraman. He wouldn't have rushed over if it wasn't Lan Fan. Let's not talk about whether or not he could be saved. If he didn't manage to save him and ended up injuring himself or even dying, then the loss would outweigh the gain. It wasn't like this hadn't happened before. Someone saw someone jumping from a building and tried to catch them, only to be crushed to death by the falling person instead. That's nothing? Bro, you're amazing. I, Xinwen, admire you. Lu Xinwen didn't notice the look on Kong Xiaobo's face. She patted Kong Xiaobo's shoulder excitedly. If you need anything in the future, you can find us. It was just a coincidence. Xiaobo was being truthful. He didn't even know how he'd managed to catch Lan Fan. Was it a coincidence? Tang Yun looked thoughtfully at Lin Yi, who had already dodged to the side. Her lips curled up slightly. What a strange person. The others didn't notice anything, but Tang Yun, who was attentive, noticed something. When Kong Xiaobo was saving people, Lin Yi rushed over, but he didn't go to pick them up. Instead, he pushed and shoved Kong Xiaobo, which made Tang Yun suspicious. Did the rescue just now have anything to do with him? Tang Yun didn't know why she was paying so much attention to Lin Yi. She moved her gaze away from Lin Yi and focused on Xiaofan. An ear-piercing siren sounded from afar. The sirens of ambulances, police cars, and fire trucks mixed together as they drove towards the alleyway. However, when they learned that the girl had jumped off the building and was caught by someone, although the firemen were surprised, they asked about the situation and left. The police found a few people from the crowd to make statements and understood the cause and effect of the incident. They could only sympathize with Lan Fan's situation. Since they knew that she didn't jump off the building because she was wronged, the police couldn't do anything about it. After all, Kong Xiaoming's abandonment of Lan Fan wasn't right, but it was just a relationship dispute. It wasn't a crime. The nurses in the ambulance took Lan Fan from Xiaobo's hands and put her on a stretcher, getting her into the ambulance. A middle-aged man who looked like a doctor on duty said to the crowd, "Who is the patient's family member? Come up and follow the ambulance to the hospital. Everyone else, disperse." I am Xiaofan's mother. Song Huiping walked up and said to the doctor. The doctor glanced at Song Huiping and nodded. "Then follow us." Song Huiping quickly followed the doctor into the ambulance. However, Lu Xinwen and Tang Yun, especially Kong Xiaobo, also wanted to go to the hospital. They surrounded the ambulance. "We are her friends. Can we go with her?" Lu Xinwen asked the doctor. "No, this is an ambulance. There aren't many seats. One family member can come in. Which one of you want to go?" The doctor shook his head and explained. Before Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen could say anything, an excited but urgent voice sounded. They turned around and saw that it was Kong Xiaobo. Kong Xiaobo wanted to rush into the ambulance without saying anything. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and pulled him back. Lin Yi, of course, understood his feelings. However, what was he going to do if he rushed into the ambulance? How was he going to explain his relationship with Xiaofan to Song Huiping? He couldn't say that they just met today, right? They didn't even know each other. It was just Kong Xiaobo's love at first sight. Lu Xinwen, follow the ambulance. Lin Yi pulled Kong Xiaobo behind him and said to Lu Xinwen, "Boss, let me go, please." Kong Xiaobo was very excited. It seemed like he wouldn't give up until he got on the ambulance. "Xiaobo." Lin Yi was speechless. "What are you going to do if you go in now? You can sit in my car and we can follow behind." That's true." Kong Xiaobo calmed down and nodded embarrassedly. Lin Yi's words woke him up. Indeed, how was he going to explain to Xiaofan's mother if he followed the ambulance now? Lu Xinwen and Tang Yun looked at Kong Xiaobo in surprise. Tang Yun vaguely guessed something. When Kong Xiaobo was at her house, he seemed to be very interested in Lan Fan in the photo. However, Lu Xinwen was confused. She didn't know what was going on with Kong Xiaobo. However, it wasn't the time to ask. The ambulance was still waiting. Lu Xinwen quickly jumped into the ambulance. The door of the ambulance closed and the ambulance sped towards the First People's Hospital. "Are you going?" Lin Yi waited for the ambulance to leave and asked Tang Yun. Tang Yun bit her lips. Although she didn't want to sit in Lin Yi's car, she was worried about Xiaofan. She nodded. "N." The back seat of the Beetle didn't have a door. They could only get in after putting down the front seat. It was troublesome. However, although Kong Xiaobo was worried about Xiaofan, he didn't forget to create opportunities for Lin Yi and Tang Yun. He gave the front seat to Tang Yun and went to the back seat. Lin Yi had been to the First People's Hospital before. Last time, he injured his leg there. Therefore, he didn't need to follow the ambulance. Lin Yi could find his way there by himself. Even if he didn't have the GPS, he wouldn't get lost. Chapter 197. Chapter 197. Sad past Tang Yun pursed her lips. She wanted to say something, but she felt that it wasn't good to talk about other people's matters behind their backs. Without Xiaofan's permission, it wasn't right. Tang Yun, can't you see through Kong Xiaobo's thoughts? Talk to him about it. Lin Yi was driving, but he was paying attention to Tang Yun and Kong Xiaobo. He knew what Tang Yun was worried about when he saw her hesitation. But Tang Yun hesitated. She could see through Kong Xiaobo's thoughts. If Kong Xiaobo could stay by Xiaofan's side, then Xiaofan might be able to get better. But Xiaofan's life was a bit tragic. Would Kong Xiaobo be able to accept it if she said it out loud? No buts. Kong Xiaobo will be anxious to death if you say it out loud. Lin Yi smiled. Tang Yun sighed and started talking. Xiaofan, me, and Lu Xinwen grew up together in the slums. We have a good relationship. But when we were in the 3rd year of middle school, a boy barged into Xiaofan's life. Kong Ming. Kong Xiaobo clenched his fist as his expression changed. He had guessed it, but he wanted to confirm it with Tang Yun. Tang Yun couldn't see Kong Xiaobo's expression from the front. She didn't notice the change in his expression. It's Kong Ming. I didn't expect you to remember this name. Tang Yun had only mentioned the name Kong Ming to Lu Xinwen once. She didn't expect Kong Xiaobo's memory to be this good. It seemed like he really cared about Xiaofan. As Xiaofan's best friend, Tang Yun naturally hoped that Xiaofan could get better soon. She didn't want to live in depression every day. At that time, she had consulted a doctor, but the doctor said that it was a psychological illness. If she wanted to recover, it would be best for her to start a new relationship and forget about the past. Although Tang Yun didn't support puppy love, special cases should be treated differently. If Kong Xiaobo and Xiaofan could be together, it was something she wanted to see. However, if Kong Xiaobo knew about Xiaofan's situation, there was still a possibility. Lin Yi saw Kong Xiaobo's furious expression from the rearview mirror. He faintly felt that something was wrong. Kong Xiaoming started pursuing Fan. Tang Yun couldn't help but glare at Lin Yi. Kong Xiaoming's family background is very good, and he's very rich. In school, he's one of those rich young masters who have hundreds at his beck and call. Fan, on the other hand, was young and ignorant, and fell for it. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Why are you glaring at me? I'm not a hedonistic young master. Plus, I haven't even started pursuing you yet. What happened before was all a misunderstanding. So, they got together. Tang Yun continued. In the beginning, their relationship was not bad. But later on, Kong Ming became more and more distant from Xiaofan. Xiaofan asked him what happened, and he suggested breaking up with Xiaofan. Of course, Xiaofan didn't agree. At that time, she had already fallen deeply in love with Kong Ming. And she had that relationship with him. Tang Yun's face blushed slightly. Although she was already 18 years old and considered an adult, Tang Yun was still a young girl after all. She was still shy when talking about this kind of thing. So, she went to find Kong Ming to ask about it, but she saw that Kong Ming got into a taxi with another beautiful woman. Xiaofan chased after the taxi unwillingly, shouting Kong Ming's name. However, Kong Ming only looked back coldly and didn't let the taxi driver stop. Lu Xinwen and I wanted to stop Xiaofan, but she didn't listen. She stubbornly chased after the taxi, and at that moment, a large truck drove over and knocked Xiaofan down. Even so, Kong Ming didn't get out of the car to see Xiaofan. He just left. However, a few days later, he transferred to another school and never appeared again. Xiaofan's leg was also crippled. From then on, she could only walk with a limp, and she couldn't walk for a long time. Usually, she had to sit in a wheelchair. After this incident, Xiaofan also dropped out of school. She stayed at home every day, absent-minded. Kong Ming treated her like this, but she still couldn't forget him. She fantasized that Kong Ming would change his mind. Sai, Wen and I tried to persuade her many times, but she just wouldn't listen. Fuck! Kong Xiaobo punched the roof of the car. His face was red, and his chest was heaving up and down. He was obviously very angry. Kong Ming, that bastard. Car. The car isn't mine, I borrowed it. Lin Yi sweated profusely. He looked at the car roof that was dented by Kong Xiaobo. He was speechless. Little Chick Chen wouldn't kill him, would she? This was too fucked up. Tang Yun heard Lin Yi's words and felt a bit disdainful. Your brother is already so angry, and you're still worried about the car? You're a rich young master, so why would you care about the repair fee? Xiaobo didn't seem to hear Lin Yi's words. He was still pounding on the roof with his fists. Lin Yi wanted to cry, but no tears would come out of it. The guy was pretty strong when he exploded. It seemed that he had to get Faubert to repair the car when he got back. He couldn't let little Chick Chen see it, or else he'd be dead for sure. She probably wouldn't borrow his car anymore. But how should he tell Faubert? Well, he'd say that he was attacked by Chu Pengzhan's enemies. He was there when he talked about the 2 unlucky golden class masters anyway. He'd just say that Sihua sent people to do it. Haha, he was too much of a genius, Lin Yi thought. Xiaobo was in a state of extreme indignation. It was as if he could see a frail girl stumbling behind a taxi, looking at the man and the beautiful woman in the car in despair. She screamed at the top of her lungs, wanting to stop the man in the taxi, but she was powerless. Just as her heart was breaking, a truck drove over and knocked her down. The man in the taxi, on the other hand, didn't even get out of the car and left directly. Xiaofan, on the other hand, was lying in a pool of blood, but her heart was still thinking about that despicable man. Kong Ming Ming. Kong Xiaobo's face became twisted. If it was someone else, Kong Xiaobo wouldn't be like this, but this person was his second cousin brother. The second cousin brother who looked down on him and laughed at him since he was young. Pho! Kong Xiaobo let out a long breath and looked at the dent in the roof. He was a little embarrassed. Boss, I was a little too emotional. Forget it, it's nothing. Lin Yi had already thought of a solution. He smiled and said to Kong Xiaobo, Xiaobo, what do you think? Chapter 198. Tang Yun's worries, boss. I want to try and get in touch with Xiao Fun. Kong Xiaobo said after some hesitation. This was the first girl he'd fallen for so much. It had only been a few short hours, but Xiao Fun's face was etched deep into his heart. His feelings for Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu were just admiration and admiration. He knew that it wasn't possible, and he was just fantasizing about it. But it was different for Lan Fun. Kong Xiaobo didn't know what love was at first sight, but he had a good impression of her the moment he saw her picture. Especially when he saw that frail figure slowly falling from the 3rd floor's windowsill. Kong Xiaobo's heart felt like it was breaking. After listening to Tang Yun's story, Kong Xiaobo felt even more affection for the poor girl. But he was also feeling impulsive right now. It was an impulse that didn't care about the consequences, and it might change after he calmed down. Lin Yi, naturally, understood Kong Xiaobo's feelings. He nodded and didn't say anything. We'll talk when we get to the hospital. Tang Yun could see Kong Xiaobo's hesitation as well. She sighed and didn't say anything. She glared at Lin Yi. You young masters only know how to harm girls. Me. Lin Yi blinked. I'm not a young master, am I? Tang Yun curled her lips and ignored him. Kong Xiaobo was depressed after his anger. He kept his head down, not knowing what he was thinking. Lin Yi parked the car in the parking lot of Songshan's first hospital, and the 3 went to the emergency room. They found a doctor on duty in the emergency room, and Xiaobo took the lead. Doctor, can I ask, how's Lan Fun? Lan Fun? You mean the girl who jumped off the building just now? The doctor flipped through the records on the table. Lan Fun's fine, but she fainted from exhaustion and shock. She's in the emergency room 6. She might need to be hospitalized for observation. Who are you guys to her? We're her friends. Thank you, doctor. Kong Xiaobo said as he went to find Lan Fun. Wait, you guys need to settle the medical fees and procedures first. Lan Fun's family only paid 300 kuai as a deposit. It's not enough. The doctor stopped Kong Xiaobo. All right, we'll do it right away. Xiaobo said without thinking. Where do we do it? He needs to stay in the hospital for observation. The patient's physical condition is very poor and very weak. Let's stay in the hospital for a week. I'll write the procedures for you, the doctor said. All right. Xiaobo nodded. He'd listened to whatever the doctor said. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Did Kong Xiaobo really fall for Lan Fun? Although it was a little dramatic, this was an age that was full of drama. The pure love between a young man and a young woman was stubborn and impulsive. Was this Kong Xiaobo's first love? A man's first love was always impulsive. He'd go through fire and water. He'd be hot-headed. However, would he continue to date Lan Fan after he calmed down? He glanced at Tang Yun and saw that she was still staring at him angrily. What's wrong? Lin Yi was curious about Tang Yun's attitude today. She was indifferent to him before, but after getting in the car, she seemed to have changed back to the old Tang Yun. Tang Yun looked at Kong Xiaobo and turned around to look at Lin Yi. Let me ask you something. Ha! Lin Yi paused and looked at Tang Yun in confusion. What are you thinking? Tang Yun bit her lips and lowered her head shyly as she asked. What are you thinking? Lin Yi didn't understand. Xiao Fan and Kong Xiaobo? It depends on Kong Xiaobo. I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about you. Tang Yun raised her head and looked at Lin Yi. That night I asked you, do you want to be friends with me? Lin Yi didn't think that Tang Yun was still thinking about this. He nodded. Since he talked to his old man and decided to stay here for a long time, he didn't have to worry about anything. Then do you want to play or stay with me in the future? Tang Yun frowned and looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi, if you just want to play, can you stay away from me, my mom, and my family? I'm not Xiao Fan. She was young and ignorant, but I'm already 18. I won't fall for your tricks. Ugh. Lin Yi was speechless. He didn't think that Tang Yun would ask such a question. What do I want to play? I don't have that much time to play. Do I look like I'm playing? Fine. If you don't want to play and want to be with me, then don't bother me during this time, okay? Let me focus on getting into university. I don't want to be distracted at this time. Tang Yun's delicate face had a trace of stubbornness. If you still want to be friends with me at that time, then I will agree. Tang Yun's showdown with Lin Yi today was the result of thinking for a few days. Tang Yun didn't know how she felt about Lin Yi. She only knew that he had helped her family a lot, and she owed him too many favors. But Tang Yun naturally wouldn't go out with Lin Yi just to repay him. It was undeniable that Tang Yun's heart didn't reject this man who suddenly came into her life. While she was panicking, Tang Yun put on a cold face and faced Lin Yi. Tang Yun was afraid. She was afraid that she would fall too deep. Although she didn't admit that she had puppy love, the hatred she had for Lin Yi was getting lesser and lesser. What replaced it was gratitude and an inexplicable throbbing. Especially after Lu Xinwen asked about her and Lin Yi, Tang Yun's heart couldn't calm down. Even in her dreams, she dreamed of Lin Yi. The most infuriating part was that she dreamed of kissing him. It was a strange dream, and it didn't feel real. Lin Yi's face wasn't clear in the dream, but Tang Yun knew that it was Lin Yi when she woke up from the dream. She had a wet dream, and the first one was Lin Yi. Tang Yun, of course, knew that it was normal to have wet dreams during puberty. The person in the dream was usually the person you liked in real life. This was what Tang Yun saw in a health textbook. But the more it was like this, the more panicked Tang Yun felt. She was afraid that she would slowly develop feelings for Lin Yi and be with him. Chapter 199. Chapter 199. Picking up her wallet with no other choice, Tang Yun decided to lay her cards on the table with Lin Yi. She needed to make things clear to Lin Yi, otherwise Lin Yi wouldn't show up at her house all the time. If Lin Yi was just playing around, then she'd tell him to stay away from her and stop bothering her. If he was serious, then Tang Yun had a deadline, and that was after the college entrance exams. First, she could focus on studying for the exams, and not let these things affect her grades. Second, it was a test for Lin Yi. If he was just playing around, then he wouldn't have that much patience. He'd have fallen in love with someone else a few months after the college entrance exams. If Lin Yi really wanted to wait until after her college entrance exams, then she could give him a chance. College was a paradise for love. Tang Yun was a good girl, but she still yearned for a romantic relationship. Lin Yi didn't expect Tang Yun to say something like this. Was it rejection or acceptance? Rejection or acceptance? Lin Yi wanted to say something, but Tang Yun had already turned around and walked towards Kong Xiaobo. Lin Yi quickly chased after her. Tang Yun had returned to her usual calmness, as if she hadn't said anything. Tang Yun was still the same Tang Yun from before, but there was a hint of shyness in her eyes, making her look even more beautiful. It made Lin Yi's heart beat faster. He came to the payment window and saw Kong Xiaobo standing there in a daze with the bill in his hand. Lin Yi asked, "Xiaobo? Are you done with the procedures? Boss, the deposit is 10,000. I don't have enough. Kong Xiaobo was a little embarrassed. He was the one who rushed over with the bill, but he didn't have the money. Oh. Lin Yi paused and looked at Tang Yun. Isn't Xiaofan's mother here? Xiaofan's family isn't much better off than mine. We've spent quite a lot of money on Xiaofan's medical bills, and we're still in debt. We don't have any extra money left, Tang Yun sighed. Are you willing to pay for it first? I promise Xiaofan's family will return it to you in the future. Me. Lin Yi wasn't a busybody. Lin Yi never cared about people who had nothing to do with him. However, Xiaofan was different. No matter what, she was someone that Kong Xiaobo was interested in. Lin Yi would naturally help her if he could. However, Lin Yi didn't bring the credit card that Faubert gave him. He didn't spend much money, so he just threw the card in the drawer at home. Other than the 1,000 kuai he got from Sun Jingyi, he had Chen Tian's wallet. Lin Yi first gave the 1,000 kuai to Kong Xiaobo, and then opened Chen Tian's wallet. There were about 3,000 to 5,000 RMB in the wallet, and the rest were all USD. However, the denominations were quite large. There were 501,000 USD. This kind of USD was no longer in the market, but it wasn't voided. However, it was kept as a collectible because the price of a single USD had exceeded its denomination. No one would spend it with USD. Chen Tian obviously didn't put so much USD in his wallet for spending, but to show off. Lin Yi had seen a few of these people before, and he could see that House Wu was quite powerful. Lin Yi passed all the RMB to Kong Xiaobo. Can you ask USD? Kong Xiaobo gratefully took the money from Lin Yi and ran to the counter. Can I ask if USD is fine? Yes, but you can only pay the deposit, not the settlement. You must pay with RMB, the worker said. Okay, thank you. Kong Xiaobo let out a sigh of relief and ran to Lin Yi. Boss, USD is fine too, but you can only pay the deposit, not the settlement. Okay, go pay it then. Lin Yi handed all the $100 bills he had in his wallet to Xiaobo. As for the $501,000 bills, the cashier wouldn't be able to recognize them. They'd probably think it was fake. I didn't know that you were so rich. You even have USD, Tang Yun looked at Lin Yi mockingly. Didn't he admit that he was a young master? If he wasn't a young master, how could he have so much money? Oh, you mean this wallet? I picked it up, Lin Yi shrugged. Picked it up. Tang Yun paused and got angry. Did he think she was an idiot? Where did he pick it up? Why couldn't she pick it up? Look at the ID if you don't believe me. Lin Yi took out Chen Tian's ID and waved it in front of Tang Yun. Ah! Tang Yun's eyes widened in disbelief. This wallet really didn't belong to Lin Yi? He really picked it up? You really picked it up? Then, you still dare to spend the money in there? Weren't you the one who told me to pay first? Lin Yi said as he stuffed his ID back into his pocket. Tang Yun didn't know what to say. How worried would he be if you didn't give it to the owner? The owner doesn't need to be worried, Lin Yi smiled. He gave it to me. Wu Chen Tian would be worried? If he was worried, then let him be. Lin Yi wasn't afraid of Chen Tian at all. At the end of the day, Chen Tian could only suffer in silence. Chapter 200. Chapter 200, Fan's illness. When he arrived at room 6, he saw Song Huiping and Lu Xinwen sitting on the innermost bed. It was a 4-person room, and the other 3 beds had patients on them as well. Kong Xiaobo didn't care about Huiping's weird stare. He rushed over and let out a sigh of relief when he saw Lan Fan on the bed. He knew from the doctor that Lan Fan was fine, but he didn't see it with his own eyes, so he was still worried. Yun, you're here. Lu Xinwen saw Tang Yun and quickly greeted her. Her eyes stopped on Lin Yi, who was beside Tang Yun, and a hint of playfulness appeared in her eyes. N11 House Fan? Tang Yun felt a little uncomfortable being stared at by Xinwen. She moved to the side, putting some distance between them. Xiaofan is fine, but the doctor said that her body is too weak. She needs to be hospitalized for observation, so she needs to pay a deposit of 10,000 yuan. Lu Xinwen walked over and lowered her voice. But you and I both know about Xiaofan's family situation. Can we help her? I'll let Lin Yi pay for it first. Tang Yun felt uncomfortable after saying that. Lu Xinwen had misunderstood her relationship with Lin Yi, and now that she said that, didn't it prove that she was related to Lin Yi? Otherwise, Why would he pay 10,000 yuan for fun? Lin Yi. Lu Xinwen looked at Lin Yi surprised. Yun, you and him. It's not what you think. I've already told him everything. I'll talk to you when I have time. Let's take a look at fun first. Tang Yun whispered. Oh. Lu Xinwen didn't believe Tang Yun's words. From Tang Yun's behavior, it seemed like she was in love. Didn't she see Fun's lesson? Was she going to follow after her? It seemed like he could only watch Tang Yun closely from the sidelines. He didn't want her to fall into Lin Yi's trap. Kong Xiaobo rushed to Xiao Fun's bed without thinking too much. At that time, he just wanted to take a look at Xiao Fun. But after rushing over, he didn't know what to do next. He wanted to touch Xiao Fun's forehead, but he didn't dare to. Student, you are? Song Huiping had never seen Kong Xiaobo before. She was a little confused by her daughter's savior's sudden appearance today. Auntie, my name is Kong Xiaobo. Kong Xiaobo awkwardly introduced himself. I'm Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen's classmate. Oh, thank you so much for today. If it wasn't for you, Xiaofan still wouldn't know. Song Huiping remembered the dangerous situation and couldn't help but cry. This child has a hard life. Auntie, don't be emotional. Isn't Xiaofan fine now? Kong Xiaobo didn't know what to do seeing Song Huiping cry. He quickly comforted her. Auntie, it's all in the past. Don't be sad. Ah. Yeah, it's all in the past. Huiping nodded and stood up. Young man, Tang Yun, Lu Xinwen, you guys help me take care of Fun. I need to go back and collect money. The doctor said that I need to pay 10,000 kuai for her. Auntie, it's fine. I've already paid. Kong Xiaobo quickly said and passed the bill to Song Huiping. Ah! Song Huiping was surprised. She took the bill and saw that it was 6,000 RMB and 1,000 USD as a deposit. No matter how dumb Song Huiping was, she felt that something was wrong. Not only had Xiaobo saved her daughter, but he'd even gone through all that trouble and put down the deposit. Huiping wouldn't believe it if Xiaobo said that it was all out of kindness. Child, you! Song Huiping's hands trembled as she looked at the bill. So much money, what are you? Kong Xiaobo was embarrassed by Huiping's gaze and quickly explained. Auntie, my boss paid for it first. Your boss? Huiping was puzzled. Where did this boss come from? Auntie Song, my classmate Lin Yi paid for it, Tang Yun explained. It's him. Lin Yi was pushed to the front and could only greet Huiping. Hello, Auntie. Huiping didn't know what to say. She'd thought that Xiaobo was interested in her daughter, but she wasn't too sure about it. Now that she heard that Lin Yi was the one paying for her daughter's hospital fees. Who was this Lin Yi? Young man. You. Huiping looked at Lin Yi, confused. Lin Yi didn't say anything before, so Huiping naturally ignored Lin Yi. Now, she saw a person who had no contact with her family pay for her family's hospital fees. Why was he doing this? Ah. Auntie, I'm Tang Yun's good friend. Lin Yi said in a flirtatious tone. Ah. Oh. Huiping misunderstood. She misunderstood the relationship between Lin Yi and Tang Yun. If Lin Yi was just a friend of Tang Yun's, why would he pay for Tang Yun's friend hospital fees? Tang Yun also heard the ambiguity in Lin Yi's words. She glared at him and was a bit annoyed. This person really went too far. She already told him everything, but he still wanted more. However, Tang Yun couldn't explain in this situation. The more she explained, the more complicated it would be. She could only pretend that she didn't hear it. At this time, Xiaofan let out a weak moan. Everyone's attention was focused on Xiaofan. Huiping didn't care about Lin Yi and quickly turned around. Xiaofan, are you awake? Mom. Where am I? Xiaofan looked at the 4 drip on her hand in confusion and looked around the room. Xiaofan, you're awake? You don't remember? You wanted to jump off a building? Huiping quickly ran over and held her daughter's hand. Jump off a building? Why would I jump off a building? Xiaofan opened her mouth. You don't remember? It's best if you don't remember. Huiping said, Xiaofan, you're sleepwalking again. You dreamt of that bastard. You wanted to jump off a building, from the 3rd floor of our house. Ah! Xiaofan was shocked by her mother's words. She wanted to jump off a building? Why didn't she remember it at all? Then did I jump? Of course not. If it wasn't for this classmate who caught you downstairs, Xiaofan, you would've. Hui Ping's voice choked again. Xiaofan seemed to know that there was something wrong with her body. She didn't doubt her mother's words. She quietly turned around and looked at Kong Xiaobo. However, when she looked at Kong Xiaobo, her eyes suddenly froze. It was as if she was about to fall into a hallucination again. Chapter 201. Intermittent mental illness in the ward. Kong Xiaobo, Tang Yun, and Xinwen were shocked as well. It was the same every time Xiaofan acted up. She would fall into hallucinations and go crazy for a while before slowly falling asleep. She wouldn't remember anything when she woke up. This time, she jumped off the building. It was the result of her going crazy. Intermittent mental illness. Lin Yi sighed faintly. Xiaofan's feelings had been hurt, and it created a psychological barrier. Due to poor guidance, she became like this. However, intermittent mental illness was different from mental illness. It was only the early symptoms of mental illness. With proper guidance and acupuncture, the symptoms could be alleviated and eradicated. Hui Ping heard Kong Xiaoming's name and looked at Xiaobo, a look of surprise on her face as well. Xiaobo did look a little like that bad guy. Hui Ping frowned at the thought. No wonder her daughter was acting up all of a sudden. No wonder she'd jumped off the building. It was all because of this student. But thinking about it, she couldn't blame him for what he looked like. Plus, he was her daughter's savior. How could she hate him? Zhao Ming, you still have me in your heart, right? Xiaofan looked at Kong Xiaobo with blurred eyes. She waved her arms, wanting to get off the bed to look for Kong Xiaobo. The needle in her hand almost fell. Xiaobo jumped in fright, afraid that she'd get off the bed. He ran over to her, but Fan wrapped her arms around him, not letting go. Zhao Ming, you finally came back to see me. You won't leave this time, right? You'll treat me well for the rest of your life, right? Xiaofan hugged Kong Xiaobo and said, "I." Kong Xiaobo was awkward. This was the scene he was looking forward to. Kong Xiaobo thought that it was just a fantasy when he held Xiaofan in his arms. But now that his fantasy had become reality, he couldn't feel happy at all. Because of Xiaofan's illness, and also because Xiaofan was thinking about another man. Although Xiaofan was hugging him, Kong Xiaobo, he was another man. Kong Mingming's substitute. Kong Xiaobo wanted to let go of Xiaofan. This kind of hug made Kong Xiaobo feel uncomfortable. He didn't want this kind of hug. He wanted a sincere hug from Xiaofan when she's awake. Auntie Song. Kong Xiaobo looked up at Hui Ping. I'm sorry, classmate. Hui Ping said helplessly. Wait for me. I'll call the doctor. The only thing Hui Ping could do was call the doctor. She had no other choice. Wait. Lin Yi sighed slightly. Since this matter happened to him, and it was related to Kong Xiaobo, then Lin Yi really couldn't ignore it. The hospital could only use electric shocks or injections to calm Xiaofan down, but no matter which method it would be harmful to the body. Especially since Xiaofan's body was extremely weak right now. If they injected drugs or made her fall into a coma, her body would become even weaker. Lin Yi didn't wait for Hui Ping to reply and quickly walked to Xiaofan's side. He looked at the 4 drip in her hand and saw that the needle was rolling. He pulled it out without hesitation and turned off the 4 drip. Then he used the needle to quickly pierce into Xiaofan's Higu, Zhenshi, Shenmen, Baihui, Daling, and other acupuncture points. Xiaofan slowly calmed down and let go of Kong Xiaobo. Then she quietly fell back onto the bed. Hui Ping saw that Lin Yi was using needles to pierce her daughter. She wanted to stop him, but Lin Yi's movements were too fast. He was done before she could stop him. In the ward, Tang Yun, Lu Xinwen, and Kong Xiaobo looked at Lin Yi in shock. They didn't know what he was doing. Boss you. Kong Xiaobo subconsciously chose to believe Lin Yi. Although he cared about Xiaofan, his instinct told him that Lin Yi would never harm Xiaofan. So, he felt that Lin Yi was doing this for a reason. It's just simple acupuncture. Lin Yi shrugged. She will temporarily calm down and fall asleep. When she wakes up, she will be back to normal. Acupuncture? Kong Xiaobo looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. Boss, you know acupuncture? Not only Kong Xiaobo, but Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen also looked at Lin Yi in surprise. He knew acupuncture? Hui Ping went to check her daughter's breathing. She was relieved when she realized that there was no problem. Lin Yi used such a simple method to calm her daughter down. It saved her the trouble of calling a doctor. Not only did it save her medical fees, but her daughter didn't have to suffer any pain. Tang Yun felt that she couldn't understand the man in front of her anymore. He was a rich young master, but he didn't seem to be one. However, he was more domineering than those rich young masters. He wouldn't hold back when dealing with people. However, he knew the recipe for barbecue. It wasn't something that could be made easily. Lin Yi wrote it down in just one lesson. This wasn't the big deal. Today, when Lan Fan jumped off the building, no one noticed Lin Yi, but Tang Yun did. Was he the one who helped Kong Xiaobo catch Lan Fan? Lin Yi showed his amazing acupuncture skills before she could dispel her suspicions. Tang Yun couldn't help but re-evaluate Lin Yi. He was different from the rich young masters Xiao Fan knew. So what if he was different? Tang Yun thought to herself. Even if he was different, she wouldn't be friends with him. Her first priority was to face the exams. She couldn't be distracted by this. Humph! Little Tang Yun reminded herself that this was just his appearance. Don't be fooled by him, don't ever. However, the commotion in the room still alerted the doctors. The family members of the patients in the same room went to find the doctors. A doctor ran over. What happened to the patient in bed 4? It's fine, doctor. Sorry for troubling you. She's fine now. Hui Ping stood up and explained when she saw the doctor. Is everything all right? The doctor was stunned. Didn't they say that the patient on the 4th bed had a mental illness and was going crazy? This student used acupuncture to make my daughter fall asleep, Hui Ping explained, afraid that the doctor wouldn't believe her. Lin Yi couldn't help but groan inwardly. It would have been fine if she didn't explain. Now that she did, things would be troublesome. As expected, the doctor's expression changed immediately. Acupuncture? How do you do it? How can you mess around in the hospital? What if someone dies? I'm not messing around. He just used the needle of the drip. Hui Ping said carefully, shocked. Chapter 202. Chapter 202, Guan Xueming's disciple. The doctor wasn't an TCM doctor, but he had some knowledge of TCM back when he was in medical school. Who in the world would use needles for acupuncture? The needle of the drip wasn't as thick as the needle of a syringe, but it still wouldn't do. The thickness of the needle would cause damage to the nerves and blood vessels, and he hadn't seen any doctors using it before. Of course, that didn't exclude the possibility of emergency situations where there weren't enough needles for acupuncture. Some of the top doctors in TCM would use other needles instead of needles to treat patients. But that required a solid foundation and experience, as well as a strict requirement on the strength of the hand. If the needle was too shallow or too deep, not only would there be no effect, there might even be side effects. Isn't this messing around? Who did this? The doctor was enraged, pointing at Lin Yi. Was it you? What if something happens to the patient if you mess around in the hospital? Won't our hospital be held responsible? Lil Wang, call the police. The doctor was so angry that he ordered the nurse behind him. Okay. The nurse nodded, preparing to call the police. Although Lin Yi knew the people in the police station, Lin Yi didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Moreover, judging from Kong Xiaobo's current state, he might need help with Xiaofan's treatment in the future. So Lin Yi had no choice but to tell the doctor once and for all. I'm not messing around. I'm Guan Xueming's disciple. Who's Guan Xueming? What? The top doctor in TCM, Guan Xueming? The doctor immediately realized who Guan Xueming was. He looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. He was also a graduate of Songshan Medical University, so he naturally knew of Xueming, a leading figure in the Chinese medicine world. Back then, whether it was Chinese medicine or Western medicine, all of them were proud to be able to listen to Xueming's lecture. If this person was really Guan Xueming's disciple, then it wouldn't be strange for him to use needles like that. Special circumstances were special. Lin Yi nodded. If you don't believe me, I can call him. The doctor saw Lin Yi's solemn expression, and he didn't seem to be lying. He also checked Lan Fan's condition, and there was nothing serious. She was just unconscious, so he somewhat believed Lin Yi's words. Are you really Miracle Dr. Guan's disciple? The doctor asked. I'll make a call. With that, he pulled out his phone and dialed in the number Xueming had left for him. In order to interfere with Xiao Fan's treatment in the future, Lin Yi could only bring out Guan Xueming. Xueming had just finished when the phone on the table rang. Xueming furrowed his brows. He'd already strictly told his friends when to pick up the phone, and no matter if they were seeking treatment from him or from the medical world, they were all forbidden from calling between 9 and 11 in the morning. This was Xiaomin's treatment time. Although Guan Xiaomin was a little angry, he still picked up the phone after all. Hello? I'm Guan Xiaomin. Xiaomin's tone was a little unfriendly. Grandpa Guan, I'm Lin Yi. Lin Yi paused when he heard Xiaomin's tone. Ah. It's Mr. Lin. Xiaomin was a little excited when he heard Lin Yi's voice. He'd learned a lot from Lin Yi's last visit, and he'd been thinking about the prescriptions and cases Lin Yi had given him. It felt like he was suddenly enlightened. Xiaomin wasn't sure how to invite Lin Yi for a second visit when Lin Yi took the initiative to call. Xiaomin was pleasantly surprised. Grandpa Guan, I'm at Songshan's First People's Hospital, and I need to help a patient with acupuncture. I said I'm your disciple, but the doctors here don't believe me. Please prove it for me, Lin Yi said. Disciple. Xiaomin was surprised. I can't do that. I'm more like your disciple. Xiaomin wasn't the kind of person who would take advantage of his seniority. If Lin Yi was better than him, then he was better. Therefore, Xiaomin didn't dare to call himself Lin Yi's teacher. All right, I'll pass the phone to the doctor here. Lin Yi didn't explain further. He believed that Xiaomin would understand. After Lin Yi finished speaking, he passed the phone to the doctor in the ward. The doctor quickly took the phone in fear and looked at the number on the screen. It was indeed Xiaomin's home phone. Every medical student knew about Xiaomin's home phone. It wasn't a secret since it was recorded in the school's contact handbook. After confirming that it was Xiaomin, the doctor said carefully, Professor Guan, I'm Wang Ligua from Songshan's First People's Hospital. I graduated in 2003, and I'm your student. Wang Ligua didn't care whether Xiaomin remembered him or not. He graduated from Songshan Medical College and listened to Xiaomin's class. This honor was enough to make others jealous. Oh, little Wang, Lin Yi's knowledge in Chinese medicine is no less than mine. If he has any suggestions, just listen to him. Xiaomin was a practical person. He didn't want to become Lin Yi's teacher for no reason. Therefore, he could only give a vague hint. Don't worry, Professor Guan. Wang Ligua was shocked. It seemed like Lin Yi had already graduated. To receive such praise from Xiaomin. After hanging up the phone, Wang Ligua's attitude immediately changed. I'm sorry, Mr. Lin. I didn't know you were Professor Guan's disciple. I offended you just now. It's fine. Lin Yi waved his hand. It was an emergency. I had no choice. I'll leave the rest of the treatment to you. No problem, Mr. Lin. Don't worry. I'll follow up personally. With this relationship, Wang Ligua would naturally pay more attention to Lan Fan's condition. Song Huiping thought that her words caused trouble for Lin Yi. She didn't know how to explain herself. She didn't expect that one call from Lin Yi would change Dr. Wang's attitude and make him even more respectful. Of course, the most surprised person was Tang Yun. She looked at Lin Yi in confusion. However, there were too many people here. Even if she had questions, she didn't ask. Auntie, there's nothing else here. Xiaobo and I will go back first. We'll visit Xiaofan after her condition stabilizes. Lin Yi saw that there was nothing else for him to do here. He stood up and prepared to leave. Kong Xiaobo heard Lin Yi's words. He didn't want to leave, but after receiving a glare from Lin Yi, he obediently prepared to leave. Tang Yun and Lu Xinwen naturally stayed to take care of Xiaofan. Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo left the hospital. Chapter 203. The loser will confess. I know a little. Lin Yi nodded. Boss, is it like what they say on TV, where a needle can cure 100 illnesses? Kong Xiaobo asked curiously. I can definitely cure 100 illnesses, but my ability is limited. Lin Yi smiled. Traditional Chinese medicine is broad and profound, and it's said that acupuncture can cure 100 illnesses. But those who truly grasp this skill and master it are few and far between. Oh! Kong Xiaobo nodded. Then Xiaofan's illness? Her illness is mainly psychological, and she should be able to recover if we can help her, Lin Yi said. Kong Xiaobo was just curious, and didn't pursue the topic after hearing Lin Yi's words. Boss, why did you drag me away? I wanted to wait for Xiaofan to wake up. Can't you see that her emotions are unstable? She thinks of Kong Mingming whenever she sees you? Lin Yi said. Do you want her to act up when she wakes up? I. Kong Xiaobo froze. Why didn't he think of that? Indeed, Xiaofan went crazy twice because she saw him. The first time was when she suddenly jumped off the building, and the second time was in the hospital room. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't be like that. We'll come back after she stabilizes, Linny said. Oh, then where are we going now? Are we going back for barbecue? Kong Xiaobo asked. What's there to eat? Tang Yun is in the hospital, and you still have the nerve to go back? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. We'll talk about it next time. That's true. But it's not like we didn't gain anything today. Kong Xiaobo was excited to be able to have intimate contact with Lan Fun today. Who is that Kong Ming Ming to you? In the car, Lin Yi suddenly asked. Previously, when Lu Xinwen mentioned the name Kong Ming Ming, Lin Yi noticed that Kong Xiaobo's expression was a bit abnormal. This person looked similar to Kong Xiaobo, and they both had the surname Kong, so it was not difficult to infer that they should be related. Boss. Xiaobo clenched his fist. I won't lie to you, he's the one I told you about, the grandson of my eldest grandpa, my second cousin. Just as I expected. Lin Yi nodded. Xiaobo, what do you think? Kong Xiaobo lowered his head and became silent. Lin Yi didn't rush him to answer. Instead, he quietly drove. In Mingyao's villa. Su Shihan's concert is amazing. It'd be great if I could be there. Yushu said as she turned off the TV. Yao Yao, why don't you talk to Uncle Chu and ask him to sponsor Su Shihan for a concert here? Daddy's company isn't some kid's playhouse. You can't just do whatever you want. Meng Yao said as she patted Yushu. Shu, are you big boobs and no brains? My boobs aren't big. It's Yao Yao that's too small. Ling Shan is the one who's big. Yushu, of course, wouldn't allow herself to be deformed. She had the perfect body. What do you mean my boobs are too small? Can't I develop late? Meng Yao raged. With those boobs of yours, you'll become a burden sooner or later. Hee hee. I don't think so, right? Yushu made a face at Meng Yao, not daring to say anything else. She quickly changed the topic. Yao Yao, what should we play? How would I know? Meng Yao was still angry. Maybe we should go shopping? Yushu suggested. No way. Meng Yao was much stronger than Yushu when it came to the big picture. We almost got into trouble at the bar last time. Daddy's company might be in trouble. We can't cause trouble for him. Oh. Yushu was a little disappointed. Shield Bro left early in the morning. Otherwise we wouldn't be afraid. Do you really think he's invincible? Meng Yao curled her lips. He's only good at teaching Pin Liang and his gang a lesson. What can he do if he meets someone stronger? I think Shield Bro's pretty strong. Yushu disagreed. Didn't he come back safe and sound that day? He's fast, isn't he? Meng Yao said. Shu, do you like him? What do I like? Uncle Chu wants a son-in-law. Yushu blushed. All right, Yao Yao, let's not talk about him. You said it first. Meng Yao didn't hold back at all. Hee hee. Yushu blinked. Why don't we play hide and seek? Hide and seek? Meng Yao looked at Yushu, confused. Hide and seek how? In this villa? It's not that big. We can find it anywhere. Don't we have the garage and the yard? Yushu wasn't someone who could stay idle. We'll each hide once, and each person has 10 minutes to find the other person. Whoever can't find the other person loses. Yeah, it's more fun if there's a time limit. Meng Yao remembered the hide and seek they used to play when they were younger. It was a little nostalgic now. Hee hee, right? Yushu was happy to see Meng Yao agree. Let's set something else. It'll be fun. It won't be exciting anymore. Something? What do you want? Meng Yao asked. Forget about money. I'm not interested. It wasn't surprising after all. Neither of them needed money, and 100 or 200 wasn't worth it at all. How low would that be? Yushu shook her head. Let's play something more exciting. What exciting? Meng Yao's interest was piqued. Their 12th year was boring. They could always find time to go on a trip every year, but now that they were in the 12th year, they didn't even have a chance to go far. Every day was between school and home, and it was extremely boring. The loser has to confess to Shield Bro tonight, What do you think? Yushu suggested as she looked at Meng Yao mischievously. Wah! Meng Yao didn't know how to react to Yushu's words. It took her a while to respond. Shu, why are you so bad? Aren't you afraid that you'll be the one who loses? Hee hee, how do you know that I'll lose for sure? But I might not win, so we both have a 50% chance of winning. It's more exciting. Yushu said. But, isn't this a little too much? Meng Yao hesitated. It was just as Yushu said, it was a lot more exciting, but wasn't this a little too much? What if she lost? Confess to Lin Yi? Why didn't he just kill her? Think about it, Yao Yao. You have a big chance of winning. This is your villa, you're more familiar with it than I am. Right. Yushu tempted. Chapter 204. Chapter 204, treacherous in the first round, Meng Yao would hide first, while Yushu would search. According to the rules, Yushu would hide in the washroom on the first floor and shut the door. She wouldn't be allowed to come out until Meng Yao rang her phone to let her know that she was safe. Heh, Yao Yao, just wait for your confession tonight, heh. Yushu giggled evilly in the washroom. She'd found a perfect hiding spot before suggesting the game of hide and seek. She believed that Meng Yao wouldn't be able to find it anytime soon. Yushu was confident that she'd win, which was why she'd suggested such a bet. She was sure that she'd win, and Meng Yao would lose. Yushu's phone vibrated a while later. It was Meng Yao's number. She hung up the phone and walked out of the washroom. Yushu wasn't in a hurry to look for Meng Yao's hiding place after exiting the washroom. She stood in the living room and started observing the place. This was Meng Yao's house, but Yushu had been living in Meng Yao's house since she was 14. She couldn't be more familiar with the place. Meng Yao's hiding spot couldn't be a normal place, and it couldn't be some corner of the house. After all, Yushu knew every corner of the house she knew, and Yushu would search those places one by one. As a result, Yushu wasn't in a hurry to search those corners of the house, since Meng Yao wouldn't be hiding there waiting for her to find her. A sly smile formed on Yushu's lips as she looked at Lin Yi's room. Lin Yi's door had been left ajar during the concert, and Yushu hadn't gone to look at Lin Yi's room on purpose. She'd glanced at Lin Yi's room out of guilt when she talked about confessing to Shield Bro, and so she'd memorized the appearance of Lin Yi's door. But right now, Lin Yi's door was completely shut. Where else could Meng Yao be if not in the room? Yushu tiptoed to Lin Yi's room and opened the door with a smile. Yao Yao sis, come out, I can already see you. With that, Yushu waited for Meng Yao to come out of the room with a confident look on her face. But Meng Yao hadn't come out of the room for a long time, and Yushu was starting to panic. Yao Yao sis, don't hide anymore, come out. Yushu walked into the room as she spoke. Yushu wasn't unfamiliar with Lin Yi's room. She'd been there once before when Lin Yi was changing his pants. She'd even blushed when she saw him. Yushu's eyes darted around the room. Her computer was on the desk, but there was no one under the desk. Under the bed. There was no way to hide anyone. The wardrobe was basically empty, with only 2 or 3 of Lin Yi's new clothes hanging there. The washroom. There was no one there, but there were 2 pairs of Lin Yi's underwear hanging on the drying rack. Yushu was a little puzzled. Where was Yao Yao sis? Where was she? Could she be invisible? Yushu searched the room a few more times, but there was no sign of Meng Yao. She felt a little discouraged. Could it be that Meng Yao really wasn't in the room? Yushu's phone vibrated again just as she was thinking about it. She took it out and picked it up helplessly. Yao Yao sis, where are you? Shu, it's been 10 minutes. You still haven't found me. Meng Yao's voice sounded a little smug. Yao Yao sis, where are you hiding? Yushu looked around the room as she spoke, trying to find the source of the voice, but couldn't find it. Meng Yao probably wasn't talking in the room. I'm in our bedroom. I laid on the bed for a while, waiting for you to come find me. Meng Yao said lazily. She was obviously trying to piss Yushu off. Ugh. Yushu almost dropped the phone on the floor. You're in the bedroom? But I saw Shield Bro's door was closed. Oh. I just closed it, Meng Yao said casually. I was worried that he might have some valuables in his room, and if we broke them while we were playing hide and seek, he'd come after us again. Ugh. Yushu didn't think that Meng Yao would close Lin Yi's door for this reason. Wasn't this a little too much? Isn't this clearly making me fall for it? Yao Yao sis, why are you so sinister? Sneaky? Why don't I think so? Meng Yao smiled. Shoo, I'm coming downstairs. It's your turn now. You better hide well, or else you'll be the one confessing. Yushu hung up the phone gloomily and waited in the living room for Meng Yao to come downstairs. After a while, Meng Yao came downstairs. Yushu gritted her teeth when she saw that Meng Yao was indeed upstairs. Yao Yao sis, it's my turn. You wait in the bathroom, Yushu said. Okay, call me when you're done hiding. Meng Yao said nonchalantly. She had already won the first round, and even if she lost the next round, it would be a draw. She wasn't nervous at all. Meng Yao went into the bathroom and closed the door. Yushu went to hide. Yushu wanted to hide in a random place this time, but she couldn't take the risk after losing the last round. She could only hide in the most powerful place. After Yushu saw that Meng Yao had closed the bathroom door, she tiptoed out of the villa and came to the villa's yard. In the backyard of the villa, there was an independent storage room. It was surrounded by a fence, and it was usually locked. Since Meng Yao lived by herself, she didn't have any junk around. She hadn't used this storage room ever since she bought the villa, but a long time ago, Yushu had been playing badminton with Meng Yao in the yard, and the badminton had fallen into the fence of the storage room. Yushu had dug her way through the fence and picked it up. This was a unique hiding place. Yushu believed that Meng Yao wouldn't even think of coming here after she'd hidden herself in. The iron gate was locked, and Meng Yao probably wouldn't even remember where she put the key. Why would she come here to look for Yushu? Chapter 205. Chapter 205. Tragic Shuyushu was trying her best to squeeze her body into the fence. It was taking a lot of effort. Had she gotten fatter? Why wasn't it as easy as before? Oh, she'd probably grown up. The last time she'd gotten in was 4 years ago, when she just moved into this villa. Phew! Yushu let out a long sigh of relief after getting halfway in. She should have looked for the key to the fence if she'd known it was this hard. Yushu wiped the sweat off her forehead and got ready to go deeper, but her chest hurt as soon as she tried. The iron bars were stuck between her two bunnies. Yushu wasn't willing to give up as she tried to squeeze her body into the fence again. I can't, it hurts. Yushu's chest was hurting. Wouldn't it hurt to get in there? How unlucky. Yushu realized for the first time that her breasts had become a burden. Meng Yao was right about it. It was only a matter of time before her breasts became a burden. What a tragedy. Confessing was fine, she couldn't just get stuck like that, could she? Yushu sighed and gave up on the idea of going deeper, preparing to move the other half of her body out. But the next moment, Yushu realized that it was a tragedy for her. She couldn't move the other half of her body out. Wouldn't she be able to get in if she could move it out? She couldn't be that unlucky, could she? Yushu was starting to panic. This wasn't a joke. She'd be a laughingstock if word got out that she was stuck in the fence. Yushu quickly pulled out her phone and called Meng Yao. The call went through, but Meng Yao hung up after a few rings. Evidently, Meng Yao had misunderstood that Yushu was giving her a signal to start searching. Yushu quickly restarted the call, and Meng Yao picked it up after a few rings. Shu, what's up? I was just about to go look for you. You have a lot of phone bills, don't you? Yao Yao, help, I'm stuck. Wah. Yushu was panicking. She was stuck in the fence, unable to get in or out. What was she supposed to do? Ah! Meng Yao blinked. Shu, what did you say? What do you mean you're stuck? What's wrong with you? Yao Yao, come to the storeroom in the villa's backyard. I'm stuck. Hurry, I can't hold on any longer. Yushu said urgently. Oh, then wait for me. I'll be right there. Yushu didn't sound like she was making things up. She really did seem to be in trouble. She hung up and ran out of the villa, heading for the storeroom in the backyard. They hadn't even reached the storeroom when they saw Yushu hanging from a metal fence. Shu, what are you doing? Meng Yao asked, puzzled. Yao Yao sis, save me. Yushu waved at Meng Yao as soon as she saw Meng Yao. She was really a little scared. She was stuck inside. What if she couldn't get out? Meng Yao took a few steps closer to see what was going on. Yushu had managed to squeeze through the bars on the right, but couldn't get through on the left. The bars were stuck between the two boobs. Pfft. Ha ha ha. Meng Yao couldn't hold it in anymore. How could this work? Yao Yao, why are you still laughing? I'm stuck. Yushu was on the verge of tears. Shu, you're so sad. Meng Yao couldn't hold back her laughter. See, I told you, your boobs will be a burden sooner or later. If it were me, this wouldn't happen. Yao Yao, I'm sorry, okay? I won't talk about you anymore. Think of something, let me out first. Yushu apologized profusely. Let me think. Meng Yao couldn't hold back her laughter. How about I cut off a piece of your boobs? Yao Yao. Yushu was getting a little angry. I'll ignore you if you keep joking. All right, Shu, I'll stop joking. I'll think about what to do. Meng Yao quickly shut her mouth. Thinking about it, Yushu was indeed a tragedy. She shouldn't have made fun of her. Okay. Yushu nodded. She put all her hopes on Meng Yao. Maybe I can help you press one side of your boobs, and you can squeeze in as hard as you can? Meng Yao couldn't think of any good ideas. Well, will that work? Won't it hurt? Yushu was a little scared. But there's no other way. Meng Yao really didn't know what else to do. Let's give it a try then. Yushu nodded. And so, the two girls started fiddling with it. People who didn't know better would think that they were playing some high-tech video game. Ah. It hurts, I can't anymore, Yao Yao, I'm going to die. I'm not doing this anymore. Yushu started crying loudly. Shu, you have to hold on a little longer. How else are you going to get out? Can't you just eat and sleep in here? What if you need to go to the toilet? Meng Yao said. You have to hold on. But Yao Yao, I'm really going to be crushed to death by you. Yushu's voice had already changed. Just squeeze a little harder, and you'll be able to get out. Meng Yao encouraged. But I can't use my strength. It hurts. Yushu said, feeling wronged. Then what do we do? Meng Yao didn't have a choice. Maybe I should call Lin Yi and have him pull you from the front while I press from the back? Maybe you can get out after we've made up our minds? That. Yushu shivered just thinking about it. This was hell on earth. But she had no choice but to nod in order to get out. Yao Yao, hurry up and call Shield Bro. Lin Yi was still driving, ignoring Kong Xiaobo, leaving him alone. Boss, I've made up my mind. Kong Xiaobo suddenly raised his head and looked at Lin Yi. Boss, I really have feelings for Fun. I can't deny that I'm a little impulsive, but I really like her. Ever since I saw her picture, I had a good impression of her. Especially after knowing her pitiful background, I don't dislike her at all. Instead, I pity her even more. Boss, can you let me try to get in touch with her? Ah! Lin Yi wasn't too surprised by this result. He'd expected this to happen a long time ago. He only gave Kong Xiaobo some time to calm down and think about the pros and cons. Her psychological problem can be cured, but her leg. Chapter 206. Chapter 206. Why didn't you say so early? Haha, I've never stopped you from dating her. This is your decision, and I'll always support you. Lin Yi said as he patted Kong Xiaobo on the shoulder. But this road might be a bumpy one. If I love her, then I'll walk down this path. I need to be sure of my feelings. Kong Xiaobo said with a fist clenched. Boss, I'll be confident as long as you support me. Ah! Lin Yi was just about to say a few words of encouragement when his phone rang. It was the Mississippi. What's up? Lin Yi asked, not wanting to call Meng Yao's name since Kong Xiaobo was right beside him. Lin Yi, where are you? Come home, quick. Shu's in trouble. Meng Yao said in a panic. Trouble? What happened? Don't worry, I'll be right back. Meng Yao's words weren't very clear on the phone, but Lin Yi still had to get back as soon as possible. He didn't want to waste time with Yushu in trouble. Boss, what's up? Kong Xiaobo couldn't hear Meng Yao's words, but Lin Yi did. Yeah, something happened at home. I'll drop you off at Ningxia Road. I won't be sending you back. Lin Yi said. It's fine, boss. Maybe I can get out now? There's a bus stop up ahead. Kong Xiaobo said, not wanting Lin Yi to send him back. I'll pass by Ningxia Road, it's fine. Lin Yi said as he sped up. The speed limit in Songshan was 60 kilometers per hour, but there were some roads with fewer cars that allowed for speed. It'd be bad if they got caught on speed cameras though. But Lin Yi didn't care about all that. The car was Yushu's, and he was in a rush to get home because of Yushu as well. Miss Chen wouldn't blame him even if he got a fine. Lin Yi dropped Kong Xiaobo off at Ningxia Road and sped back to the villa. Lin Yi charged into the villa after he parked the car. Yao Yao Shu. No answer. Lin Yi frowned. Did something really happen? Did Sihua's men come to the villa? But that was impossible. The villa area had 24-hour surveillance cameras, and there were security guards on duty. It was impossible for anyone to cause trouble here. General Wei Wu, where's Yao Yao? Lin Yi suddenly saw General Wei Wu at the staircase, so he didn't care if it could understand him or not and asked casually. General Wei Wu raised its head and looked at Lin Yi before lowering its head again, not saying a word. Fuck, you stupid dog, I'm talking to you. Lin Yi kicked General Wei Wu, panicking. Woof. General Wei Wu barked and ran out of the villa with Lin Yi towards the backyard. Lin Yi followed behind General Wei Wu, confused. He didn't know if it knew where Meng Yao was, or if it was just running around blindly. But when he reached the backyard, Lin Yi saw Meng Yao and Yushu standing there, perfectly fine. What happened? Did these two girls have nothing better to do, so they decided to play with him? You guys. Lin Yi was just about to ask what was going on when he realized something was wrong. Half of Yushu's body was stuck in the fence, and the other half was stuck outside. What kind of position was this? Lin Yi, come quick, Shu's stuck, she can't get out, she can't get in, she can't get out, what should we do? Meng Yao waved at Lin Yi anxiously. Ugh. Lin Yi was a little confused. Shu, why are you in there? I'm playing hide and seek with Yao Yao, I wanted to hide in there, but I ended up like this halfway through, shield bro, help. Yushu wasn't as worried after seeing Lin Yi, but she still wanted to get out as soon as possible. Hide and seek? Ha ha ha. Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. He scratched his head awkwardly when he saw Yushu's murderous gaze. I'm far from help, I won't die even if I'm stuck in there. I won't die, but I can't be stuck either. Yushu panicked. Yao Yao, tell Shield Bro your idea, see if you can get me out. Oh okay. Meng Yao nodded and turned to Lin Yi. You climb over the fence and pull Shu's hand over there, I'll press down on her. There, see if I can get her over there. Meng Yao was too embarrassed to say boobs or boobs in Lin Yi's presence, so she could only use there. Lin Yi flipped over the fence in no time. I'll hold her now? Yeah, I'll count to 3, and you pull. Meng Yao nodded. Okay. Lin Yi pulled Yushu's hand. Ready. 1, 2, 3. Meng Yao pressed down on Yushu as Lin Yi pulled. Yushu was on the verge of tears. It hurts so much, I can't take it anymore, let go of me, I'm not going out. Meng Yao quickly let go and Lin Yi didn't dare pull as well. You two are trying to kill me. Woo. Yushu covered her chest with her hands, tears coming out of her eyes. Lin Yi, think of something, what should we do? Meng Yao really didn't know what to do. Maybe we should call the police? Don't, Yao Yao, if that woman Ling Shan saw me like this, she'd laugh herself to death. Yushu shook her head, dissatisfied. But you can't just be stuck like this. Meng Yao said. I can get her out. Lin Yi interrupted. You can? Meng Yao blinked. Why didn't you say so earlier? What are you waiting for? But you didn't let me say anything just now. I was just doing what you told me to do. I thought you had some good idea. Lin Yi said, putting on a bitter face. You! Meng Yao was pissed off. Lin Yi, hurry up and think of something. Lin Yi, naturally, was just playing along with Meng Yao's antics, trying to tease Miss Chen a little, letting her know how powerful he was, so she wouldn't have to hang a toilet paper on the side to blackmail him all the time. Lin Yi smiled faintly as he reached his hand out, almost touching Yushu's chest. Hey! Shield bro, what are you doing? Yushu jumped, startled. Was Lin Yi trying to take advantage of her? Getting you out. Lin Yi didn't bother with her. He reached his hands out and grabbed the 2 bars on Yushu's chest and back, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the back was fine, but the one in front of her chest made contact with Yushu's chest. Chapter 207. Hey Bao escapes. It wasn't that Lin Yi didn't want to take advantage of her, but he didn't dare. The miss was right there, watching him. Flirting with her best friend? Lin Yi wasn't that reckless. However, this feeling was really not bad. Just touching the wrist was already very impressive. Lin Yi chuckled dryly at Yushu's murderous glare, deciding not to take advantage of her anymore. He exerted some force with his hands, and the bars were pulled apart. Done. Linny said as he let go, standing to the side. Ah. Yushu tried it out, and got through the bars easily. That easy? It's that simple. Linny nodded. That easy? Why did you pull me? Yushu panicked. My chest, it hurts. Ahem. Sh. Mengyao glared at Yushu. Watch your mouth. Yushu blushed a little but didn't care. Shield bro, did you do it on purpose? Yao Yao made me do it. Linny said innocently. I thought her method was the best. Linny, stop trying to drive a wedge between us. Mengyao wasn't happy about it. What do you mean my method is the best? I know you can pull the bars open. Ha! Linny smiled. If there's nothing else, I'll put the bars back to normal. Don't go through them next time, but you should be fine if you do it, Yao Yao. With that, Linny restored the 2 bars back to their original state. Linny. What do you mean? Are you saying that my chest is small? Mengyao exploded at Lin Yi's words. I didn't say that. Lin Yi sweated. He just said something random, and Mengyao was reacting like that. I'll be going if there's nothing else. Come back here. Mengyao was pissed when she saw Lin Yi running away. Yao Yao, there's a benefit to having a small chest. You won't get stuck. Yushu said weakly as she looked at the enraged Mengyao. Shoo! Mengyao's face darkened as she glared at her. How could you persuade someone like that? Stuck. There are so many big-breasted girls here, but I don't see any of them getting stuck. Only an idiot like you can get stuck. Yao Yao, don't be angry. Pin Liang likes you no matter how big or small your chest is, Yushu said seriously. Shoo, did you do it on purpose? What does that have to do with me? Mengyao was going crazy. You're right, as long as Shield Bro likes it. Yushu nodded. Mengyao was speechless. She couldn't be bothered to get angry with Yushu anymore. Her best friend was going to die sooner or later. Mengyao rolled her eyes as she remembered something. Shoo, you lost in hide and seek, didn't you? Yushu was reminded by Mengyao, and her vision darkened as she remembered the wager. What did it mean to get caught in one's own trap? Yushu hated herself for talking so fast. Why did she have to play with a wager all of a sudden? Yao Yao sis, I'm stuck here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to find me, Yushu argued. Nonsense. I could find you even if you weren't stuck. Mengyao said. Shoo, you can't go back on your words. Otherwise, I won't play with you anymore. Oh. Yushu was a little discouraged by Mengyao's threat. All right, I'll go. When? Mengyao knew how weird Yushu was. If she didn't tell her the time, she'd probably drag it out. Dinner. Dinner time? Yushu wanted to prepare. Yao Yao, you have to give me time to prepare. All right, dinner time then. Mengyao nodded. You can't go back on your words. Got it, Yao Yao. Yushu's face was bitter. But what if Shield Bro takes it seriously? That's not good. If he takes it seriously, you'll marry him. You seem to like him. Mengyao curled her lips. She didn't know why, but she didn't feel comfortable. Wah, then if I marry him, you'll marry him too? Yushu acted like she didn't understand. Yao Yao, you're so cunning. You like Shield Bro but you're using me as the vanguard. Shoo! What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Who likes him? Mengyao covered Yushu's mouth. She wouldn't let Lin Yi hear her, would she? How embarrassing. She didn't know what Shu was thinking. She used to make a joke when she was young, and she always took it seriously. She wasn't an idiot. Why would she like to be a mistress? Hee hee. Yushu smiled without saying anything. I won't say anything. Yao Yao, you'll cover my mouth again if I do. Humph, I'm telling you, you're not allowed to tell him in advance. I'll be watching you. Mengyao was getting pissed. She wasn't giving Yushu any leeway at all. That was indeed what Yushu was planning to do. She'd secretly contact Shield Bro and tell him to put on a show with her tonight, but she didn't expect Mengyao to cut her off first. She wouldn't have pissed Mengyao off if she'd known this was going to happen. She'd be in trouble after pissing Mengyao off. She'd thought that Yao Yao would forget about it after some bullshit ting. Yushu's eyes rolled around, but she couldn't think of a good solution. She sighed dejectedly. All right. Yao Yao, I'll confess. That's more like it. Good kids do what they say. Meng Yao nodded before pulling Yushu back to the villa. Lin Yi had returned to the villa a long time ago. He'd called Faubert to get him to fix his car, but the guy was driving Pingzhan to a business event in a neighboring city. He wouldn't be back anytime soon. Lin Yi got a call from Lingshan not long after he hung up. Lin Yi hesitated for a moment before picking it up. What's up? You're not asking me to go arrest someone again, are you? Lin Yi Heibao escaped. Lingshan's urgent voice came from the other side of the phone. Heibao? Escaped? Lin Yi blinked. Yes, just this afternoon, on the way to the detention center, Heibao suddenly went berserk, injuring 3 police officers and 2 auxiliary officers. One of them's in critical condition. He's still in critical condition in the hospital. Lingshan said. What? He injured 3 police officers and 2 auxiliary officers? 5 people? Are you serious? Lin Yi blinked. This Heibao wasn't that strong, so how could he injure 5 people? Was this a joke? Chapter 208. The Miss Bringing a Man Home? I'm not joking. Lingshan said solemnly. Lin Yi, I know it's hard to believe. I was shocked myself when I first heard the news, but it's the truth. Heibao was the only suspect in the car? Lin Yi frowned. If Heibao was this strong, he wouldn't have beaten him up that day. Only him. Lin Yi, I know what you're trying to say, but I can say for sure that Heibao did this all by himself. Lingshan said. I don't know if you're familiar with the division of strength in Jianghu, but old Zhang in the police force is also a retired master of the special forces. He's always in the car when escorting suspects, and this time is no exception. He fought Heibao, and Heibao was a level higher than him. I believe old Zhang's words. Division of strength in Jianghu? I've heard about it from Jun Bro. Lin Yi found the whole thing a little strange, but Lingshan's insistence meant that there had to be something else going on. Sky, Earth, Xian and Huang. Golden class masters can dominate the cities. That's right, old Zhang's a golden class early phase. He's not as strong as me, but it's enough against normal people. Lingshan said. According to his judgment, Heibao should be golden class late phase peak. Otherwise old Zhang wouldn't have been able to take one hit. Golden class late phase peak. Lin Yi couldn't help but click his tongue. What the hell? How did a weak guy like that become a golden class late phase peak? What kind of joke was this? If he didn't hide his strength from the start, then he must have used some method we don't know of to raise his strength to golden class late phase peak in an instant. Lingshan explained. The latter is more likely. Lin Yi said after some thought. If it's the first, then he wouldn't have to run away after getting caught. He could have killed me when I was beating him up and run away before you guys showed up. Of course, Lin Yi was exaggerating a little. It wasn't that easy for a peak late phase golden class to kill him. Although this division of strength was a relatively common way of dividing, it depended on the martial arts practiced by each person. When people of the same level really fought, there would be a huge difference in strength. That's right, we think so too. Lingshan said. This news will still get out, but I'm calling to remind you that you're the one who sent Heibao in, and I'm worried that he'll take revenge on you. Where do you live? Shall I send some policemen to guard the area? No need. If he comes looking for me, I will send him back to you, Lin Yi said calmly. Peak late phase golden class. Heh, it's good that you're here, then I won't have to go look for you. Lin Yi, I'm not joking with you. I don't know if you understand how strong a golden class late phase peak is. Lingshan was a little annoyed at Lin Yi's attitude. She was reminding him out of goodwill, but he didn't seem to care at all. Why was this man so sloppy? How could he become Captain Yang's friend? I know, I'm just a little stronger than you. Don't worry, I'm just a little stronger than you. I'll be fine. Lin Yi said seriously. Lingshan was a little speechless. Do what you want. I'm reminding you already. Lingshan hung up the phone, pissed off. What kind of person was this? Treating good intentions like bad intentions. Ah, Heibao? Suddenly increased strength? This is quite interesting. Lin Yi mumbled to himself as he put the phone aside. But so be it. He could go wherever he wanted, as long as he didn't bother Lin Yi. Yushu tried to sneak away from Meng Yao a couple of times before dinner, but Meng Yao noticed her every time she tried. Yushu, where are you going? Yao Yao, I'm going to the washroom. Yushu said weakly. There's one in the room. What are you going to do? Meng Yao pointed at the washroom. Oh, I forgot. I thought it was in school. Yushu said helplessly as she got up. Give me your phone. Meng Yao didn't let her go. Okay. Yushu handed her phone over, completely giving up on the idea. It seemed like she had to confess tonight. The dinner wasn't delivered by Faubert, but by an assistant from Peng Zhan's company. Faubert had called Meng Yao earlier to tell her that he was going to a business event with a Mr. Chu, and that the person delivering the dinner was the company's assistant. Meng Yao didn't mind, however. This kind of thing happened quite often in the past, and she knew the assistant as well. She agreed without a second thought. The villa's doorbell rang at 6, and Lin Yi went to open the door, thinking that it was Faubert delivering the dinner. He didn't expect it to be a man he didn't know. May I ask who you're looking for? Lin Yi didn't open the door for him, asking instead. The man paused as he looked at the house number. He wasn't at the wrong place, was he? Wasn't this the Miss House? Why was there a man here? Only Peng Zhan and Faubert knew that Lin Yi was living here, and no one else in the company knew about it. It was no wonder that the assistant was confused. Excuse me, is this Miss Meng Yao's house? I'm looking for her. The man asked carefully after making sure that he wasn't at the wrong place. Oh, you're looking for Yao Yao? What's up? Lin Yi looked at the man suspiciously, but Lin Yi could guess what he was here for when he saw the lunchbox in the man's hand. Since Faubert was going to a business event with Peng Zhan, naturally, he couldn't deliver Meng Yao's dinner at night. It was normal for him to send someone else. You're here to deliver the dinner? Lin Yi asked before the man could say anything. Yeah. The man nodded. He was getting more and more curious about Lin Yi's identity. Who was this man who appeared in the Miss House? Especially when he addressed Miss intimately, calling her Yao Yao. This man couldn't be the Miss boyfriend, could he? She brought him home when Mr. Chu wasn't at home, but he didn't expect to bump into him. The man felt sad at the thought. He thought that this was a good chance for him to show off. Only trustworthy people could do private things for the company's leaders. Others couldn't do it even if they wanted to. But he was so unlucky that he bumped into the Miss boyfriend. If he found out about the Miss puppy love, how could he get over it? If the Miss got angry and said bad things about him in front of Mr. Chu? Thinking that his bright future had become so gloomy, the man felt sad for a while. Chapter 209. Chapter 209. Cunning Shu. Do you have identification? Lin Yi had a guess as to why the man was here, but he still made sure to check it carefully. This was a critical time, after all, and it wasn't the time to be messing around. What if the man was a fake and had come with a box of poison? I do. The man wasn't expecting Lin Yi to be this careful. He reached for his employee card. Meng Yao and Yushu heard the doorbell ringing as well. Meng Yao remembered that Faubert wasn't the one delivering the food today, and Lin Yi might not know who it was. She pulled Yushu downstairs. She was afraid that Yushu would use this opportunity to contact Lin Yi, so she dragged Yushu with her wherever she went. Assistant Zhang, you're here. Meng Yao saw Lin Yi asking for Assistant Zhang's identification as soon as she stepped out of the villa. She felt a little touched by the guy's attentiveness. Miss Chu, Mr. Li went to a nearby city. I'm here to deliver the food for him. Assistant Zhang's face was filled with danger as soon as he saw Meng Yao. He was pissed that he'd caught Meng Yao cheating with her boyfriend, but he had to act like he didn't know anything. Yeah, I got it. Faubert called me. Meng Yao said as she looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi, this is Assistant Zhang. Just take it when he comes to deliver the food. All right. Lin Yi nodded as he took the box from Assistant Zhang's hands. Meng Yao, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. Lin Yi living here was her dad's arrangement, and she didn't have any dirty thoughts about it. How would she know what Assistant Zhang was thinking? Assistant Zhang handed the box to Lin Yi before leaving in a hurry. He didn't want to stay any longer in an atmosphere like this. Lin Yi shook his head as he watched Assistant Zhang's hurried back. What was the guy leaving in such a hurry for? Lin Yi took the lunchbox and was about to walk into the villa when Yushu rolled her eyes, thinking about how she should interact with Lin Yi in private. Her eyes landed on the beetle in the yard. Shield bro, how's my car? Not bad, right? It's okay. Lin Yi's heart tightened. This girl wouldn't find out that the car was damaged by me, right? Oh. Yushu's mind raced as she looked at Meng Yao, trying to figure out what to say to Lin Yi. Where are my photos? Why is the ornament on the front of my car gone? Shield bro, hurry up and open the door, I'll go take a look. Shoo, are you trying to start a conversation? Meng Yao could tell that something was wrong with Yushu. I took that picture when I was 15. I won't look like that anymore. I have to see where it went. Yushu explained. 15 years old? Meng Yao was pissed. Who could grow smaller and smaller? Who could grow back to how they looked when they were young? Wasn't that bullshit? What do you mean you won't grow back? I took the picture and put it in the drawer. It'd be bad if Kong Xiaobo recognized me driving your car. Lin Yi didn't know what was wrong with Yushu today, but the way she spoke was weird. Oh, then show me if it's still there. I don't believe you. Did you lose it or break it? Yushu wasn't going to let it go. Meng Yao, naturally, knew what she was thinking. She was just trying to tell Lin Yi what was going on, wasn't she? She frowned. Lin Yi, open the door and show her. Meng Yao wanted Lin Yi to open the car door and let Shu have a look, and she'd stop. Shu wouldn't be able to do anything with him watching from the side. All right. Lin Yi didn't want to open the door at first, but since the miss had spoken, Lin Yi had no choice but to open the door. He hoped that Yushu wouldn't look at the back seat. Oh. It's here. Yushu found her accessory. She wasn't actually looking for it, but she wanted to use the opportunity to hint to Lin Yi about tonight's action. It'd be too awkward if she confessed abruptly. All right, Shu. Since you found it, let's go back to the villa for dinner. We have important things to do after dinner. Meng Yao emphasized the word important, hinting to Yushu that she shouldn't think about anything else and just wait for the confession. Oh. If I can't hang it in the front, I'll hang it in the back then. No one's looking at the back, right? Yushu, of course, wouldn't leave. Her eyes darted back and forth in the car. Suddenly, her gaze stopped at the roof of the back seat of the Beetle. Shield bro, how did my car become like this? Lin Yi was troubled as well. This Yushu never cared about her car. She'd left it in the garage for so long, and she didn't even bother to look at it. What was up with her today? She looked left and right, and finally noticed something wrong. Meng Yao thought that Yushu was trying to stall for time again. She pulled on her hand. Shu, don't be so surprised. Let's go eat if there's nothing else. No. Yushu waved her hand. Yao, you didn't see it, but look here. And here it's all broken. Meng Yao frowned, thinking that Yushu was just messing around. Impatiently, she followed Yushu into the car. Lin Yi, what the hell are you doing? How did it turn into this? Ambushed. Lin Yi sweated. Ambushed? Someone got in the back seat and ambushed you? How did he get in? Did you let him in? Meng Yao didn't believe him. This car wasn't like a hatchback, where you could get in through the back door. The Beetle could only get in through the front seat. Shield bro, you have to take responsibility. Yushu didn't care about the car's condition at all. She just wanted to talk to Lin Yi. Yao, you can go back first. I need to talk to Shield bro about how to compensate me. No, we can talk about it after dinner. The food's getting cold. Meng Yao rejected. I like cold food. It's harder for me to get esophageal cancer. Yushu wouldn't let go of such a rare opportunity. Then you talk to him, I'll watch from the side. Meng Yao couldn't let Yushu talk to Lin Yi alone. Oh, okay. Yushu pretended that there was nothing wrong with it. She turned to Lin Yi. Shield bro, you damaged my car. You have to give me an explanation, right? Chapter 2:10. Reaching an agreement, of course, that wasn't the main thing. What surprised Lin Yi the most was that Yushu didn't show any anger or heartache after seeing her car wrecked. Instead, her eyes lit up with excitement. It was as if her car being wrecked was something to be happy about. Yushu sounded like she cared about it, but Lin Yi could see something else in her eyes. Yushu wasn't angry about her car being wrecked at all. Could it be that she had some ulterior motive? Lin Yi felt that the two girls were hiding something from him as he watched Meng Yao rush them. What do you mean? You're not going to ask me to marry you, are you? Lin Yi said innocently as he looked at Yushu. Ugh. Yushu paused at Lin Yi's words. She was already worried about the confession, and now that Lin Yi was talking about marrying her, she couldn't help but blush. At that moment, Meng Yao's phone rang. She took it out and saw that it was her dad's number. Meng Yao didn't want to be distracted at a time like this, but she couldn't just ignore the call. "Hello, Daddy?" Meng Yao picked up. "Yao Yao, I'm having a meeting in a nearby city. I asked Zhang to send you guys dinner. Is he here already?" Peng Zhan's voice sounded from the other side of the phone. "Yeah, he just left." Meng Yao was a little impatient. She wanted to end the call as soon as possible. On the other side, Yushu whispered to Lin Yi while Meng Yao was on the phone. "Shield bro, put on a show with me after dinner, and we'll forget about the car." "Got it." "What?" Lin Yi was just about to ask what show she was going to put on when Yushu interrupted him loudly. "Shield bro, you broke my car. You have to promise me one thing." "I haven't thought about it yet. I'll tell you when I'm done," Yushu said loudly. She was afraid that Lin Yi's questions would attract Meng Yao's attention. Seeing how secretive Yushu was, Lin Yi understood that she was hiding something from Meng Yao. Lin Yi could have rejected the offer at all, since he was hired by Peng Zhan and Meng Yao was his first responsibility. But Yushu was using the car as an excuse, and Lin Yi could only nod in agreement. "Shu, lower your voice." Meng Yao frowned as she couldn't hear her dad's voice clearly. "Yao Yao, are you talking with Shu?" "All right, there's nothing else. I'll be going back tomorrow. See you later." Peng Zhan hung up the phone in a hurry after hearing her daughter's words. "Oh, okay. Bye, Daddy." Meng Yao hung up. His eyes were on Yushu. "Shu, what are you trying to do?" "Nothing." Yushu stuck her tongue out. "I want Shield Bro to compensate me, but I haven't thought about what I want yet, so I asked him to promise me something." "Shield Bro, you haven't said anything yet." "All right." Lin Yi knew that she was putting on an act, so he agreed. "Then it's a deal." Yushu nodded with a smile before turning to Meng Yao. "Yao Yao, Shield Bro and I've come to an agreement on the car. Let's have dinner." "Wow, there's braised anchovies, my favorite, la la la." Yushu nodded with a grin before turning to Meng Yao. With that, Yushu snatched the lunchbox from Lin Yi's hands and ran into the villa. Meng Yao looked at Yushu, puzzled. What was wrong with her? Why was she acting so crazy? Did she tell Lin Yi already? It didn't seem like it. She kept staring at her, and Yushu didn't have time to say anything. She looked at Lin Yi. "What's wrong with Shu?" "How would I know?" Lin Yi shrugged. "If I hadn't seen her chest in the afternoon, I would have thought it was her head." "Don't talk nonsense." Meng Yao rolled her eyes at Lin Yi. "Don't talk nonsense about Shu." Lin Yi smiled faintly. "You've been blinded by Shu, and you're still speaking up for her?" The two walked into the villa, and Yushu had already placed the dishes on the dining table. She had 3 sets of utensils, and each of them had a bowl of rice. Yushu was in a great mood now that her worries were gone. She was almost humming a tune. Of course, she couldn't let Meng Yao see that, or she'd be done for. Meng Yao was a little confused at how diligent Yushu was, but she didn't say anything. She sat down at her usual seat, and saw that Lin Yi was still standing there. She pointed at the other side of the table. "You eat too, you can eat with us next time, so we don't have to leave room for you." "Ah. Okay." Lin Yi's status in the family had risen noticeably. From the leftovers they could only eat at the beginning to saving some for themselves, and now they were eating together. It seemed that Meng Yao was slowly accepting the fact that she was a part of the family as well. Yushu, on the other hand, didn't seem to mind. The girl didn't have a temper, nor did she have a temper, and was easy to get along with. It was just that the things she did made people's hair stand on end. "Yao Yao, today's braised fish is really good. Do you want to try it?" Yushu said as she put a piece of the fish into Meng Yao's mouth. It was delicious. "Shu, do you have ADHD today? I don't see you like this usually." Meng Yao couldn't take it anymore. "Yao Yao, I'm just... Yeah. I'm about to take an important step in my life, so I'm excited. You know." Yushu said. Meng Yao didn't know what to say. An important step? Did you really think that confession was real? An important step? Meng Yao wasn't happy at the thought. "You're just joking. Why are you being so serious?" Lin Yi ate the food on the table quietly. Lin Yi didn't like to talk much during mealtimes, especially when it was a topic he couldn't join in on. Lin Yi didn't want to say anything either. Be it Meng Yao or Yushu, both of them were acting weird today. He didn't know what Yushu was talking about when she said he'd play along with her. It was a little weird. Meng Yao thought about how Yushu would embarrass herself later, and the shocked expression on Lin Yi's face after the confession. That bit of unhappiness in Meng Yao's heart vanished. It was time for Yushu to embarrass herself. The girl had been messing with her all these years, and she didn't even have the chance to do it. She was the sister after all. For example, if Yushu wanted to eat grilled squid, she'd tell Pinliang that it was Meng Yao who wanted to eat it, and Pinliang would skip class and run a few miles to buy some grilled squid skewers, and Yushu would eat them happily. And if she wanted to hear firecrackers during New Year, she'd tell Pinliang that she wanted to hear it. Pinliang fell for it again. Chapter 2:11. Shu's confession. In actuality, Meng Yao had accused Pinliang wrongly. Pinliang had fallen for Yushu's tricks a couple of times, and he'd guessed that Yushu was just messing with him. But it was better to be safe than sorry. What if it was really Meng Yao's request? What if that happened once? Wouldn't Pinliang cry tears of sorrow? And so, even if he knew that Yushu was lying to him, he had no choice but to do as she said. He was afraid that it really was Meng Yao's idea, and he'd regret it if he didn't do it. And so, Meng Yao was looking forward to Yushu's failure. She finished her dinner quickly, and Yushu was still chewing on the fish slowly, pulling out the bones one by one. She started to panic. "Shu, why were you eating so slowly?" "Eating slowly is good for the body, after all. I don't have anything else to do anyway, so what's wrong with eating slowly?" Yushu mumbled as she ate. "Yao Yao, what's up?" Meng Yao gritted her teeth. She wasn't the one who had anything to do, but she was the one who had something to do. "Keep acting then. Let's see how long you can drag this out." Meng Yao watched as Yushu ate slowly, patting her tummy after a long while. "I'm full." "Yao Yao, you and Shield Bro are both done? You two are so in sync." "Is that so?" Meng Yao humphed lightly. "Shu, didn't you tell me that you had something important to say to Lin Yi? Didn't you say that you were about to take an important step in your life? All right, can you tell me now? I want to hear what you have to say." Lin Yi was about to go back to his room after dinner when Meng Yao's words reminded him of what Yushu had said to him. He looked at Yushu, confused. What did she want to say to him? Was she going to play along with her? "Yeah, then I'll say it." Yushu looked at Meng Yao, then back at Lin Yi. She was a little embarrassed now. "Hurry up," Meng Yao urged. "Shield Bro, I like you. Actually, I've had a crush on you for a long time now." Yushu stood up all of a sudden and put her palms together in front of her chest as she looked at Lin Yi, her heart pounding a little as she recalled the scene of a girl confessing her love under the tree when she cleared the game. Ugh! Lin Yi blinked as he remembered Yushu's reminder. Wasn't this what they called acting? At the thought, Lin Yi stood up excitedly and grabbed Yushu's hand. "Lil sis Shu, I like you too. Actually, when I first came to this villa, I started to like you. It was just that he had never dared to confess. Actually, I really like you and Yao Yao." Ahem. Meng Yao coughed twice as she listened to Lin Yi's words getting more and more unreliable, dragging her into the mess as well. She was getting more and more uncomfortable. What the hell was Lin Yi talking about? Accepted Yushu's confession? This guy can't be that shallow, right? Why did he accept Yushu's confession just like that? He looked really excited, as if he'd been waiting for a long time. She didn't know why, but Meng Yao was a little confused as she forced a smile. "Shu, I didn't know you liked him?" Yushu was a little dumbfounded. She didn't think that Lin Yi would have such a strong reaction, even grabbing her hand and confessing to her. Yushu's heart was in a mess. Her heart was beating really fast. Shield Bro liked her? It couldn't be, right? She'd always thought that he liked Yao Yao sis. But she just told him to put on an act with her, so he should be acting now, right? Yushu let out a sigh of relief at the thought, but at the same time, she felt a little disappointed. Would Shield Bro accept her if she really did confess? Yushu blushed a little. The sudden cough from Meng Yao snapped Yushu back to reality as she looked at Meng Yao, a little embarrassed. Yao Yao sis. I'm done with my confession, so don't bring it up again." "Lin Yi, aren't you going to say something about it?" Meng Yao was a little curious. Lin Yi was so excited earlier. Why did he seem to be back to normal in the blink of an eye? Say what? Lin Yi sat there, looking at Meng Yao. I said it, she confessed, and I accepted. That's it? Aren't you excited? Meng Yao was a little surprised. What's there to be excited about? Who knows if she's telling the truth or not? Lin Yi shrugged. She's always been this crazy. Ugh. Meng Yao opened her mouth, but didn't say anything. Did Lin Yi know that Yushu's confession was just a farce? Meng Yao was a little disappointed, but at the same time, she was happy. So Lin Yi wasn't accepting Shu's confession? Meng Yao felt that her emotions were a mess right now, and she couldn't stay here any longer. She needed to go back to her room to calm down. Shu, let's go. Meng Yao pulled Yushu up and walked to the second floor, leaving Lin Yi alone in the dining room. Yushu turned around and made a face at Lin Yi, as if the confession hadn't happened at all. Lin Yi smiled. What the hell were these two girls doing? He put away the leftover fish and some side dishes, preparing to make a meal of potatoes with the fish the next morning. After that, Lin Yi went back to his room. Lin Yi was prepared for Yushu's confession, so he didn't think too much about it. Meng Yao, on the other hand, started to worry as she went upstairs. What if it wasn't Shu who got stuck today, and she lost instead? Would he confess his love to her? Would Lin Yi take it seriously if it were her? She wasn't like Shu, who didn't trust her words and actions. Maybe Lin Yi would believe her then. At that thought, Meng Yao suddenly felt a little annoyed at herself for acting so smart today. She should have just hid in Lin Yi's room and let Shu find her. But why was she confessing to Lin Yi? She didn't even like him? Meng Yao suddenly thought of this and shook her head to get rid of the messy thoughts she'd been having. Yao Yao, what are you doing? Yushu followed Meng Yao up to the second floor, confused by Meng Yao's reaction. Shu, why doesn't he believe your confession? Meng Yao didn't know what she was talking about. Her emotions were all over the place. Oh, maybe it's because people don't always believe my words. Yushu rubbed her head. Do I always do stupid things? Maybe. Meng Yao nodded. All right, Shu, I'm sorry. I went overboard today. I shouldn't have forced you to confess to Lin Yi. It's not good for your reputation. Thank goodness Lin Yi didn't believe it. How else would you get a boyfriend?